O Show. This is the Big 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 O Show. This
So here we are. I wanted to show you the backyard again because we had some trouble last time, but you know, CuttersEdgePro.com does some amazing stuff, and there are the boys and the girl. They're having fun. There we go. Right, Maiden? Right, Bono? There we go. They're having fun. I'm having fun. Look at our Sylvester palm. It is beautiful. We got another one in the front yard like that. You can take your home and landscaping to the next level. And the artificial turf, look at that. Look at that. The two dinosaurs going at it, huh? Look at that. You gotta love the dinosaurs. Look at them. They like to bite each other's legs. That's what they do. They play with each other and then they bite each other and they piss each other off. It's fun. One is Bono, which is the one farther away from you, and Maiden. She's the girl right here. She's a badass. That's for sure. So anyway, see the flowers are coming out. Very nice. CuttersEdgePro.com, folks. This big tree there will start budding that I'm showing you there soon. It'll have all kinds of flowers. I'll post another video and I'll show it to you. This is a backyard where everybody gets to hang out. Over there in the corner there, I put the barbecue and cook. So that way it's the farthest away from the house, you know. If I light myself on fire or somebody else, we're out in the corner away from everybody. There you go. See, getting some flowers coming out, which is a beautiful thing. And I swear by this artificial turf, it always looks phenomenal. I don't have to cut it. I don't have to water it. And so I'm saving a lot of money, hundreds and thousands in the long run, because I'm not watering or, of course, cutting the grass. And you know, here in South Florida, we cut the grass like every 10 to 14 days.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zins Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zins Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Radio Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated. They offer free 30-day storage, full service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
Oh, I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All righty. Good morning. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, we are. We are locked and loaded. We got it. I just want to make sure the mic was on, because then you just kind of like screaming and saying hello, everybody, and then it's not on, and then all of a sudden everybody's going, hey, we can't hear you. It's muted. And it's not muted. We are ready to go. Good morning, one and all. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for supporting the platform, of course. Saw Sean and Frankie doing their thing last night. If you missed the Squared Circle Digest, it is there. You can actually go watch it at any time on demand for you wrestling fans out there, you wrestling hunks, you wrestling dogs out there. You can go see Sean and Frankie last night doing their thing. And so check it out there. And, of course, anything else that we've got on the platform, obviously interviews and all kinds of stuff. One-Eyed Jack says, today's my birthday, and what a great early morning birthday news we got today with Ramsey. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But then again, is it really news? Is it really news? I mean, somebody told you he was returning in the first 2 weeks of November. the only person in the media that told you he was returning in the first 2 weeks of November. I don't know. It's just like, well, if you're going to return in the first 2 weeks of November, you got to get to practice for a couple of weeks. And today is the 18th. Oh, interesting. You think they'll take about 2 weeks like they did with Teron Armstead? Yeah. And then, of course, if the knee responds and there's no uncomfortable or soreness or setbacks, he's going to start in the first couple of weeks of November. You'll see in that first or second game of November, he's going to be lined up. We told you that a few weeks ago. So you go back and look at it. I threw the nugget out there in the middle of the show. I said, I'm going to tell you, my guess is going to come back in early November. And I think sarcastically, I told you, me, I know I just guess things out here. It's just guessing. So, I just find it funny. That's all. But it's all good in the hood, man. If you watch the platform all the time, we bring it all the time for you all out there. Kind of like William Quigley at Cutter's Edge Pro right there. They bring it all the time. When it comes to landscaping, there is nobody better. When it comes to Dolphins news, there is nobody better. I'm sorry to take a shot at all, but did you get anything of Ramsey coming back in early November on any platform anywhere locally? Anybody? Any of the beat reporters say early November? Any of the national people say early November a couple weeks ago? Anybody? They were still talking about Ramsey maybe in December. Okay. Some would say maybe late November. I'm the only nutbag, but maybe I'm not so nutty. I told you early November. So, all those Dolphin sites out there, did they break that story? No, they did not. So, anyway, I just find it kind of funny, and I'm not surprised that Ramsey's returning. I would figure that he was about to return already, hearing what I heard about what's going on in that building with him. So he is so ahead. It's that he's so ahead of schedule. He's been so ahead of schedule that they're terrified. They're terrified of how quickly he's healed, So, but you'll see. He'll be on the field in early November, and of course, barring any setbacks, which is kind of part of the whole thing. But he is on pace for it, and we'll see what happens. I can't wait. I just hope that X is just a little tweak, and he can, heal up, and because you want both of them healthy. That's kind of the way things are going to work. If you have both of them healthy, now you got your elite corners outside. Now you can do more things with the defense. It just becomes a little bit easier for Fangio to do certain things when you can just leave two guys on an island. And Kohu will be better in the slot also, because I think he's more of a slot guy than anything else. I think he can play on the outside as you give him experience and time, but I think he's going to be really, really good in the slot. His athleticism, his physicality, he can high point the ball. I just think, Kohu's one of those guys, got ball skills. I just think he's going to end up really settling inside, and then the defense will take, another step. I'm hoping. And so, hey, listen, man, I got him winning this week. Okay, we're going to talk to Jeff Mosier, of course, host of Inside Birds. He's been covering the Eagles since like 2005. I've had Jeff on my show tons of times. Whenever there's anything going on in Philly, or if we're going to play Philly or something, Jeff is one of my guys that I go to, and he knows the team well. So we'll get his perspective at 10:30. Matt Verderam's going to join us at 11, and Cameron Wolf, who broke the news today that Ramsey would be returning to practice at noon, will be joining us. So we'll have some fun with all of that. Steve Chapman is in. I see he's number one. Please don't forget to smash the hell out of the like button. Jamie Zoria is in. He says it's hump day. having a great week. Remember to smash the button, the like button, and fins up, everybody. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Watch. Hit the like button and watch. Key things for us. Green Lion, no doubt. One-Eyed Jack. Happy birthday, One-Eyed Jack, to you, sir. I hope you have a perfect day. Outside of Jalen Ramsey, I hope the Dolphins give you, sir, a big-ass win on Sunday night. And we'll be here, tired and all, doing the post-game show on Sunday night. Oh, look out. You asked for it. You got it. Toyota. That was one of my assistant principals in Kinloch. He had a paddle that had Toyota written on it, and it had holes drilled into it. And if you went to go get paddled, he'd tell you, you want it, you asked for it, you got it, whack, Toyota. Yeah. So you wanted a poll during the show? Sean Stanley delivers. Did any other South Florida sports personality say Ramsey would return in early November? That's the first poll question you come up with. It's a hell no. It's a hell no. It's some idiot put yes. Obviously haters, which I got plenty of course. Oh, man. That is funny. That is funny. Steven Gonzalez, Cash the Jeweler, John Padilla, Tim Eason, Lisa Rose, Nico Jones, Lakeisha. She goes in and out, man. We don't see her often on the chat boards. Maybe she's watching, but hello, Lakeisha. P. Crown Vic, Nyborg. Forecast for Philly this Sunday night is clear with some winds, temps in the low 50s to the upper 40s to the fourth quarter. Man, Nyborg, win the game, bro. Win the game. We got to see this team cross that start, because even beating Philadelphia doesn't mean you crossed the threshold, but start to cross the threshold of beating the best teams in the league so you can be considered the best. I want to see 2 out of 3 wins against Philadelphia, Kansas City, and Buffalo. Preferably Philly and Buffalo. Preferably. I'd love to win Kansas City too, but if I'm going to get 2 out of 3, I need to beat Buffalo, dude. I'm tired of losing to Buffalo. They've won 12 out of 14 under that stupid coach. It's time for McDaniel to start winning 8 out of 12 against them. Okay? We got to turn the tables, man. We got to turn the tables. Got to turn the tables. We know they're good. Time to be great. And I know they can be great. So don't infuriate me by losing on Sunday. Gotti 4453 is in. True Finn fan says he farted. Good thing is, none of us are there to smell it. Jayhawk is in. Brian Landis is in. Robert Thomason is in. Nizzle, Gus 1388. True Finn fan says we're 5-1. What rush Ramsey? Why rush Ramsey, I guess is what he's saying. The goal is to be ready for the playoffs, but who am I? Hopefully he doesn't rush it before he's 100%. True Finn fan, he looks good. Like, good. Like, no setbacks, like no soreness and all that kind of stuff, you know? So that's the problem, dude. What are you going to do if he looks good? Some people recover faster than others, man. That's just the way it is. And some people take forever to recover, and sometimes that's the way it is. Gilbert Martinez says, good morning. Oh, have you seen that documentary about Tua? It's called Prophecy in the Making. Really good. Watching it. Yes. Yes. Big O is clairvoyant. I don't know. I don't know if I'm clairvoyant or what it is, but once in a while we seem to kind of nail it.
Hear ye, hear ye! Ladies and gentlemen, far and wide, the Sportstradamus has a prediction for all.
sometimes we have to, throw it out there, and sometimes we tell you that, Brian Flores is going to get fired in the middle of a winning streak, and you're freaking out on me. Like they freaked out on me 2 weeks ago that I was like, this is a fraudulent performance, and all those hardcore Dolphin fans, oh my God, he's hurting my feelings. And I did it again a couple years ago when they were in their winning streak. And I tell people, hey, he's going to get fired. What do you mean? Oh, he's a good coach. He's winning. He's in a 7-game or 5 or 4 at that moment or whatever. What are you talking about? How can you fire the guy? He's had 2 winning seasons. How can you fire him? I'm telling you what's going on behind the scenes. He's running roughshod through the building. He's going to get fired. What can we tell you sometimes? It's just one of those things. It happens. Can't do anything about it. We just can't. It's a burden that I have to carry, unfortunately. And then I tell you, hey, Jalen Ramsey, he's coming back in early November. These things happen.
The Sportstradamus has spoken.
Can't do anything about it. Will the Dolphins beat the Eagles on Sunday? I'm voting yes. Same hater that voted against me voted no right now. So you got another poll right there on the message board that you guys can do it. Let's see. What else do we have? Crypto Fins is in. Brian Landis says, talk about reinforcements. Ramsey and Achan coming back soon. Yes, sir. Let's see. Only a third of us watching have hit the like button. Let's go, says Jayhawk. Thank you. NorCal is in. He says, good morning, Big O, Sean, and chat board. Puff, puff, give. Fins for life. Aaron Hernandez. I got to go next year to that get-together. That looked like it was a lot of fun. True Fin fan, I see. GP Trap, Boss B. Pat in Asheville says, as much as he apparently uses his growing off the field, it's very disappointing that X is still having issues with it on the field. Maybe he's using it too much off the field, so it's not helping him on the field. Have you thought of that now, Pat? Maybe that's what's going on with X. He's working that growing way too much off the field. Right? He's getting woman after woman allegedly pregnant and all that kind of stuff. This guy's impregnating like half the people in South Florida. So that's probably the problem. X is working that growing way too much off the field, and then when he gets on the field, he doesn't have a growing to work. And by the way, if you're going to get 4 or 5 women pregnant, you probably are going to blow out both growings. Let's see. GP Trap is in. He's in St. Augustine. Don't drink the fountain. Okay? That's all I got to say. When you go to St. Augustine, do not have any fountain of youth. That is, oh my God. That tastes terrible. Like every morning, I have a fridge in the studio, that's why. Every morning I have some of this. There you go. This has been one of the life-saving things. Bob Baumhauer, former Dolphin great, turned me on to this. This is one of the healthiest things in the world that you can have. It has omega-3s, vitamin A and D3, and it helps cardiovascular function, cognitive health, all that stuff, joint support. So it's got a little lemon flavor. Not the tastiest thing in the world, I will say. But I happily drink it every day. As you can see, I'm already running kind of low here already. So I take this every day. Super healthy. And for any of you all that have had heart conditions and stuff like that. Like I told you, former Dolphin great Bob Baumhauer, a friend, turned me on to it, and it's been one of the things that's, for me, I think kind of changed my life, to be quite honest. And I take it every day religiously. That doesn't taste great. It's got a little lemony thing and a little lemony taste in it. It's not terrible, but it tastes 1,000 times better than that stinking Fountain of Youth. Oh my God. I still remember that from when I was a kid. The first time I went to St. Augustine, that my mom took me there to go check out, Fountain of Youth, all that stuff. And they gave you a little drink of water. This is in the 70s. Oh my God. I still remember that shit tastes terrible. I thought I was going to get sick. So whatever you do, GP Trap, by the way, I'm wearing your hat, GP Trap. Interesting. GP Trap gave me this hat. Speaking of giveaways, in black, in aqua, in gray, and of course, orange. There you go. How about that? 3A Graphics, by the way. Alan Blanco, thank you. We got to give away some, we're going to give away some shirts. Tomorrow, by the way, if you come to Hialeah Park, I'm going to take some shirts. Got a whole bunch of shirts. We're working on all the merch now, and we're gonna have all kinds of merch coming up. I'm working on getting the imaging stuff, and then printing and website and all that kind of stuff. So we're working on all of that. We'll have different kinds of shirts. These are just like the initial ones that we printed out, so we can give out and have some fun with them. We'll give out a bunch of them on next Sunday when the Dolphins take on the Pats, and we'll be at Walk-Ons. If you come on to Walk-Ons on Kendall, I'll have some there. I'm going to take some tomorrow to Hialeah Park. So we'll have some fun. And Alan Blanco, 3A Graphics, excellent work. The shirts are awesome. They're great quality shirts on top of all of that. And if you need custom printing and embroidery, please call our friends at 3A Graphics. Would you drink from the Fountain of Youth? No longer. I did that once, and I would never do it. Never do it again. That's another one that Sean has thrown out. There's lots of what's it called, polls. Now, it kind of disappears, so do they get to see it?
Here's the thing. To start a poll, I have to end the last poll.
What?
To start a new poll, I have to end the last poll.
Oh. So, okay, well, why don't we just stick with one poll for a while so we can actually get real numbers? I look, the first one was for fun. I get that, but okay. All right. I see that. That's interesting. All right.
Just doing it to keep people interacting. They have a Q&A also where you can throw it out there, but I think
they what?
Chat. There's a Q&A part in there as well where they can ask you questions. But we do that with the internet already, so I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
Do anything
all right, well, there you go. All right, a couple more interactive things on the chat board. That's pretty cool. I like it. I don't mind the interaction. I love the interaction. It's kind of what we do. Who could hate you, Bigger? Oh, lots hate me. Lots. That's just the way it goes, bro. Lots hate me, but what are you gonna do? Once you know me, you love me. But it's some of this sports stuff. They're so emotional that, they end up getting this hatred for me. Oh, my God, he called us frauds. Yeah, dude, that's what it was. It was a fraudulent performance. And let me go off on the fraud stuff. Have you noticed that since I did that, by the way, Sean, have you noticed, since I did that, even the players themselves are like, no, we got to start winning these kind of games. They're the ones that now started saying, no, we can't lose to Buffalo the way we lost. And then people all around are also now saying, well, no, hey, they got to start winning against these kind of teams. Oh, really? Well, that's what I've been saying from the get-go. It's like, it's sometimes some of you need to take like a step back and listen to me and then chill out and relax, because it doesn't come from a place ever of hate. You know what I mean? But some of you then turn it to that, It's like, oh, this guy, he hates the Dolphins. Yeah, no, of course I hate the Dolphins. Yes, of course. That must be it. I must hate them. It's like, it's just, fans are silly. Some of you out there, you're just ridiculous. That's all. You're emotional cripples and you can't handle the truth. And, that's just kind of the way it is. And when I'm telling people, Flo hates Tua, he didn't want him, nobody believes me. Oh, how could you say that? Oh, this, that. How would you know? And then it all comes out after. But at that moment, believe it or not, I get the hate emails and the DMs and the texts and all. Oh, you just want the Dolphins to fit. No, dude, I'm trying to tell you what's going on. I want the Dolphins only to win. But if something's going on behind the scenes, I have no control over it. I can't control Brian. They couldn't control Brian Flores. Just so, yeah, GP Trap. I get the hate all the time, bro. I get the hate all the time. I thought the general talking point was the ideal situation for Ramsey would be returning in early November, but I could have just embedded that from your show. Well, I know this. Nobody was talking about early November. I'm the only one. So there ain't a damn person that said it before I did. Red Skelton, keep in mind that we are not at full strength in the Eagles games, just as we're not in the Buffalo game. Bro, the Eagles aren't at full strength either. You'll find out at the bottom of the hour. Eagles are missing a whole bunch of teams. Just win, bro. I don't want to hear any more bullshit. I don't want to hear any more excuses. See, that's the problem right there, dude. Excuses. There are no excuses. Win the damn game. Buffalo was missing people too that day. Win the game. That's it. And don't come up with a pathetic performance where you choke and you lose by 28 points. That's unacceptable. This isn't any of these teams from the past. This team is way better. They need to do better. Now, I'm not making any excuses for the Dolphins. And the Eagles aren't 100% either. So Buffalo had those excuses. The Eagles have those excuses. Miami has those excuses. You know what I say? Win the damn game, dude. That's all. I don't give a shit what you're missing. It's not like you're missing your quarterback. Okay? And your left tackle is gone, but the guy that's filling in has done a marvelous job so far. Until I see that Kendall Lamb can't help you win, then we have problems. Can anybody tell me that Kendall Lamb can't help you win? No. So win the damn game. I'm tired of excuses. Find a way to get it done. You're good enough. Start to play that way. This team has the potential to be great. I truly believe that. I've never believed that in decades. This team has the potential. They just got to go out there and put it together, man. I'm not making any more excuses for the Dolphins. Go to Philadelphia Sunday night in a hostile environment and go prove that you're no longer that team that we've known for 30 years that wins a couple of games, beats the shitty teams, the mediocre teams, the average teams, and then gets to the playoffs and gets spanked and sent home because they can never beat the best of the best. Because they get dominated by Buffalo over the last 8 years, 7 years, whatever the hell it is that McDermott's been there. No, man. Turn the corner. Let's go. Start winning those games. I need to get back to where I was when I was younger watching Shula, where he would beat the best of the best more than they would beat him. That's when you know you're elite. When you're beating the best of the best more than they beat you. Let's get back to that.
spoil me that way. Don't, fake me out with 9, 10, 11 wins and then spanked and sent home in the first round. I've seen that enough. I'm tired of that story. I need a happier ending for the Dolphin Nation. Okay. Big O, this will be a high-scoring game, in my opinion, because the defensive philosophy just doesn't cut it with me. I see Hurts running all over the field. Well, we'll find out. I mean, Jayhawk, is it really – can anybody really argue with what you're saying? The Dolphins don't really stop the run. They're the best running power team that there is in the NFL. The Dolphins haven't proven to be physical in that sense. Their secondary is all beaten up and missing a bunch of people, and they've got issues. The Eagles have got some issues. We'll talk about it. They're missing, I think, Lane Johnson. Their best offensive lineman pretty much is out for this game. They're missing people, but their secondary has got some injuries. They just signed a DB now that may end up playing this week. Former DB of theirs. I mean, so you got problems in the secondary and you're going up against this receiving core? So it goes both ways, Jayhawk. You know what I'm saying? Like, Miami can't stop the run, and now you got to deal with Hurts in their running game. It's a bitch of a matchup. Well, their secondary is not very good right now, and they've got to deal with a bitch of a passing game. Win the game, dude. Win the game. Find a way. I don't care. Win the game. I'd rather beat KC than Philly because of possible home field playoff implications. I want to start winning against the elite, Steve. I need to start erasing the memory of Buffalo 2 weeks ago. So I don't want another loss. I'm sorry. I want to win. Yeah. That's what I want to do. Let's see. The upcoming game will be a track meet. Last team with the ball wins. That could be it. That could be it. You never know. Thank you, G Firm. What up, Big O? I got 3 names for our offense: Sun Pass, Weird Science, and Greatest Show on Surf. Well, the Greatest Show on Surf has been out there as a playoff of Greatest Show on Turf. And I don't mind that one because we're Miami. So Greatest Show on Surf, I like. Weird Science is actually pretty good. Because that offense is, unlike any offense in the league right now. So, yeah, that is kind of, people are stealing plays off of McDaniel now and all that. So that's pretty good. I like that, G Firm. I like that. Let's see. Miami needs to win the battle of the trenches versus the Eagles, who are the best in the NFL in the trenches. Win or lose, if Miami can play well in the trenches versus the Eagles, that would make me happy. That would be also a miracle because they haven't done that yet. And now you're going to do it against the most physical fronts. And I say fronts because it's both offense and defense when it comes to Philadelphia. One of the things that they do exceptionally well is they continue to draft in that area. And they continue to load up in that area. The Jets did that too. Go look at their D-line and go look at the guys on their bench. And one of the things that Philadelphia understands is that if you're going to win, you got to win at the point of contact, baby. At the line of scrimmage, offense and defense. So this is the most physical game the Dolphins will play this year. So they're the fast and finesse team. And defensively, they're not physical, but they better figure out a way to get physical. All right, I promised you, Jeff Mosier, my buddy out there, host of Inside Birds. He's been covering the Eagles since 2005. Kind enough to join us now. You can follow him on Twitter at Jeff P. Mosier. And, of course, it's Jeff with a G, Geoff. Jeff, how you doing, baby?
Big O with an O. What's up, my friend? How you been?
I'm doing good, man. Can't complain. I think we finally have a team here, man. I think we finally have a team that can take that next step. I don't know if it'll be this week against the Eagles. I'm hoping it's this week against the Eagles. And I was just saying before you came on that this is going to be the test of all tests for Miami because they really, not on offense, they've done a good job of opening up holes and stuff, but defensively, they haven't been able to really handle physical fronts. And that's what they're going to have to deal with on Sunday night when they face your Eagles.
Yeah, and there's a lot of panic right now in Philadelphia because people tend to remember what they saw last and harp on that the most, right? But the Eagles have been a very, very imposing team on both sides of the ball for a couple of years now, but especially this year, when healthy, and we'll see if Lane Johnson plays because he's a big difference maker. When healthy, the Eagles have the best offensive line. And they actually, Big O, even though they set a record last year for sacks, a team record with 70, which I think was third in NFL history, I think they're a better defensive front this year. Last year, they had Javon Hargrave playing the 3 technique, and he's a guy who can get you 10 to 12 sacks, and he's really tenacious off the ball. But they were a liability in run defense because he's not a great run defender, and Jordan Davis was a rookie who was barely playing. Now you've got Jordan Davis, the big 350-pound mammoth, really coming into his own. And you've got Jalen Carter, he's just a man-child. I knew when they got him, everybody knew he was one of the best players in the draft, if not the best defensive player. But when then you go and see it manifest with your own eyes live, a 6'6", 335-pound guy who just throws guards and centers around like they're nothing, the Eagles have become tougher up front because of those two guys. And honestly, it's reinvigorated Fletcher Cox, who's actually playing more snaps this year than he's played in the last few years, even though this is his 13th year, I believe, in the league. So that's what Miami will have to confront. Miami is going to come in, obviously it's not going to be hot. It's going to be probably in the 40s or 50s by 8 o'clock, right? It's not surf speed, as you were just talking about, and it's a night game and it's in Philly. You know what that's like. And the Phillies and the Eagles are coming off a loss that leaves a bad taste in their mouth. That happened last year against Washington. They had 4 turnovers, lost a game they shouldn't have lost. Everybody was down on them, and then they went on a torrid tear after losing that game. So I think this is going to be a pretty interesting game.
How is the secondary? Because I think that's where they're also having some serious issues, and that's where I think Miami, they get rid of the ball really quickly, and Miami, while I'm amazed that they're also up there in rushing. God, that is really impressive. But their passing game obviously is second to none right now out there. Where is that secondary with the Eagles? Because they just signed a guy off the street that may end up playing some safety or some nickel or anything this week.
Yeah, and that's 1 week after signing another guy off the street to play nickel or say in Bradley Roby, right? Because all started in training camp. They have a really good nickel corner named Avonte Maddox, but he's always hurt, and he got hurt again. He tore his pec, out for the year. They had a backup who they had drafted a couple of years ago named Zach McPherson out of Texas Tech. He tore his Achilles in training camp. So they came out into the year down to slot corners. They have a safety, Justin Evans. He played with the Saints last year. He was a safety / nickel type. Well, he started off as a nickel, and then he got hurt. And then Bradley Roby got hurt because he just signed off the street and had to play last week. So now they're back to Josiah Scott, who played for them last year. He's a Michigan State kid. I think he came up with the Jaguars his first 2 years. So he knows the scheme. He knows the defense. He's not just walking off the street. But he was just with the Steelers on their practice squad. He's a guy that had to play a lot last year for the Eagles and got picked on quite a bit because when you look at their secondary, he was clearly the weakest link because Bradbury's pretty good and Slade's pretty good, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson was having a really nice year until he got hurt. And Marcus Epps was having a good year. So this is a totally rebuilt secondary. It's got the same corners, I should say, rebuilt safety and nickel position. And yeah, it's been a struggle, but the style of defense they've played, which you guys should be familiar with because it's, the Eagles are one of the thousands of teams now that play the Fangio style defense. They really don't let you beat them over the top. They're going to play their safeties deep. They're going to show you a lot of cover 2, cover 1 that becomes cover 2, a lot of zone, a lot of 2-man. So they really haven't yet suffered the consequences of having a beat up secondary, but that really could change when they face the Dolphins, of course.
All right. So when you look at that matchup, is that where Miami is going to be able to or going to have to take advantage of the Eagles? Because I think they'll have some success running the ball, but I don't think it'll be like they've had in the past because you just got to respect the shit out of that Eagles front.
Yeah.
But that now when it comes to the passing game, I just kind of feel that the Dolphins are the kind of passing game right now that can take advantage of almost any secondary, even if they're good. One that is right now kind of injured and hurting right now. What do you think about that matchup going into it?
Well, let me ask you, because I've only watched a little bit of Miami tape. So I'll answer your question, but I need your contextual help first. Why did the Dolphins only score 20 points against the Bills? What was the number one reason?
No, that's a great question, and I'll give you a long-winded answer on this one.
Okay.
Mike McDaniel he's a young coach. Now, he's got a marvelous offensive mind. I don't think anybody's going to argue that by now, right?
Right.
Okay, so he has designed off. People are stealing plays off his ass now. Okay, that's just the way it is. In fact, I think I heard Kyle Shanahan last week say the team we played last week used one of his plays or some shit like that. You know what I mean? So he even admitted that they're stealing plays off of his. The master is taking plays away from the Padawan. So, but there's one knock I do have on McDaniel right now. Last year, the Chargers stifled the middle of the defense, the middle of the field. He didn't have an answer. He couldn't answer. And then San Fran did the same thing the following week. A year later, he destroyed it all because they all said, oh, well, they took away the middle of the field. Well, he made sure that they completed 8,000 passes in the middle of the field in different ways. You know what I'm saying? And then the Bills did the same thing. The Bills stifled what they were doing. It wasn't necessarily the middle of the field. It was Milano playing out of his freaking mind out there, but he didn't have a counter. No, he's a great player. Jesus Christ. He is a monster. Yeah, he really is. And Daquan Jones also was causing problems, and he just got injured too. And so he did not counter. So that is one little knock that I have on him, because it's a knock that we use on any coach that, you know, you go in at halftime and you're expecting adjustments, and then there are no adjustments, and you're like, yo, what's going on with this dude? Like, they keep doing the same shit for 4 quarters, and you did not adjust. You didn't counter with anything. And so that, to me, was they did not figure out how to counter the Bills. And that's been something with him at times that he has to get better as a coach. But again, this is his second year, and he's, you know, going through the gauntlet of all these coaches and all that. And I think also the Bills had the personnel to kind of, you know, stay with Miami there. But it was just one of those things where they really stifled what they were doing. And if Philly can do that, then we'll see if McDaniel can counter also at that point. But that's why I ask secondary, because if you don't have the secondary to stifle them, and if you don't have the linebacker that can cause the problems in the middle of the field, it's going to be a long day for that defense.
Yeah. So I will say Sean Desai, the new defensive coordinator for the Eagles, who again is worked with Vic in Chicago and is steeped in the Fangio principles. I mean, who isn't at this point? He has done a really good job so far. Again, masquerading the secondary's issues, getting good linebacker play. Nakobe Dean just came back last week. He was on short-term IR, hurt his foot, sprained his foot in the season opener. But Nakobe's, I'm sure people down south know what he did at Georgia. I mean, he's a very good rangy linebacker. Came back last week, played well. Nick Morrow has played well within the function of the scheme. Zach Cunningham is a tackling machine. And now that he doesn't have to play every single snap with Nakobe Dean back, they can kind of just use him against the run. He's always been a very good run defender. But it starts with the front four. And the Eagles will play 4 up front. They'll play 5 up front. They play a lot of 5-man fronts. And when you put Josh Sweat, Hassan Reddick, Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox, and Jalen Carter on the field, that's been very difficult. You have to have a very good offensive line if you're going to score points on the Eagles. The Jets won, but they didn't score any points. They'd scored 12 points until they returned an interception late to the goal line, basically. And then the Eagles let them have a touchdown because they wanted the ball back. So don't be just, masqueraded by that, all the injuries. So I've seen the Eagles go up against some pretty good weapon teams. Minnesota's had Justin Jefferson and Addison, and Kirk Cousins can throw, but they didn't have a very good offensive line. And for 3 quarters, they were down 27-7 because they could not stop the onslaught. And I know that if Teron Armstead doesn't play, that creates problems for the Miami. He's not going to play, right? He's on IR.
No, he's not going to play. He's not going to play. Yeah, but Kendall Lamb has been freaking terrific, dude. Seriously.
That's good. It's good that Miami's finally got some depth on that offensive line. It's been a problem for them in the past.
Nobody has depth. Nobody has even an offensive line. Okay.
Nope,
the shit that goes on over in your city doesn't go on everywhere else, buddy. Okay.
We find it amazing. We really think it's amazing in such a, you talked about the copycat nature of play calling, right? That other teams don't sort of, and listen, the Eagles have been criticized for it. They needed safeties. They've needed corners for years, and they keep drafting guys like Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens and all these other linemen, defensive tackles in the second and third round. But guess what? On game day, that matters the most. You know, you could overcome those other deficiencies. So only a few teams seem to get that.
Dude, you can find safeties and linebackers in the middle to late rounds. Yep. Give me an effing break already, bro. Yeah. We got Andrew Van Ginkel, who's playing like a werewolf, and he's a fifth rounder. Right. Zach Thomas just went into the Hall of Fame. He's a fifth. The league is littered with linebackers. You guys got Hassan Reddick off the goddamn free agency list.
It's unbelievable. It was a 3-year, $15 million a year.
But I love what the Eagles do. And I said it in there, they're always drafting linemen.
Yep.
And to me, that's where you win the damn game, dude. You 100%. Win at the line. So if you're reaching for that safety in the first or second round and you don't have a great offensive or defensive line, you are doing a disservice to your team because everything else works a hell of a lot better when the monsters in the front are controlling everything, dude. That's 100%. Why I'm saying some teams, when you can just put pressure, that's the other thing. The Bills can put pressure with 4 guys.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the other thing. If you can do that with Miami and have more back there, that's going to also help you too. You know what I mean?
Exactly what the Eagles will do, Big O. They are going to only rush 4. They've been blitzing a little bit more lately because they've been facing Sam Howell and Zach Wilson. So they'll blitz Tua.
There'll be some blitzes because 4 will not get to Tua. The guy gets rid of it too quickly.
Yeah, they'll try to speed up his clock, but they will probably most of the time have 6 in coverage, and they'll play a lot of zone. And they are good at the man match system. They pass off on the inside pretty well. Now, again, if they've got 3 new guys there, that might be an area that the Dolphins can exploit. But they have some smart players that helps them. Slay, if he comes back, is smart. Bradbury, very smart. All their linebackers are really above average intelligence football intelligence guys. Reed Blankenship, their safety, he's kind of becoming a pretty good story. Guy at Middle Tennessee State, 5-year starter at Middle Tennessee State, didn't get drafted. I mean, he's not the greatest athlete in the world, but he was certainly productive enough to be drafted, but fell through the cracks. And he's been a really efficient starter for them for almost going on a year now. So, you know, I can't see the Eagles, barring more injuries and just total dysfunction, letting Miami come in and score 45 to 55 to a 70 burger or anything like that. I think this is going to be a good game. I think Miami will come into this game or leave the game saying, wow, that defense is not something we've faced yet. That D-line is something that's really special there. Maybe right up there with Buffalo, if not better, actually, than Buffalo.
No, it's better. It's better than Buffalo. Where I think Milano is probably the better, rangier linebacker against something 100%. Like this because what's the name of the dude for San Francisco who's a monster?
Fred Warner.
When you have that active middle dude that really, I mean, you saw Dungy for years. He had Brooks who changes the entire goddamn game. You know what I mean? When you have that middle linebacker that is just absolutely nasty and rangy as hell, it's just like having shutdown corners. If you have 2 shutdown corners, it changes everything that the coordinator can do all of a sudden because he can play with the other 9 guys like he could never do because nobody really normally has 2 guys that are island guys and just out there. When you have that middle backer, bro, that is like an absolute just fireball all over the place, it changes everything that you do. And Milano and Fred Warner, those were guys that created havoc for Miami in a big time way. Who's going to play that role there for Philadelphia?
Yeah, well, I was going to joke and say, brother, I don't know that kind of linebacker because I've been covering the Eagles for 20 years, and that's probably the position they devalue the most ever since Jeremiah Trotter, was his last days. I mean, the Eagles last year got about as good of a year as you're ever going to see from an Eagles off-the-ball linebacker in TJ Edwards, right? And they just let him walk to the Chicago Bears. They didn't even think twice about, and it wasn't he. You know what? He actually didn't make as much money as we thought he was going to make because he had a really great year. And the Eagles were like, "Thank you, next." So I wouldn't know about those guys, but they do specialize in getting guys lately who they think can run, who can be rangy, and that'll be Nakobe Dean. Nick Morrow's the big thing about it is you almost don't have to be the Fred Warner or the Milano for the Eagles defense because, as you know, all you have to do as a linebacker is be kept clean by your defensive front so that you have a pathway to the ball carrier. And these guys are untouched half the time. They are making tackles and they look like people have been calling in or talking to us saying, man, these Eagles linebackers, they're so good. They're so great. I'm like, nah, man, they're good. They're literally getting into a gap and making a tackle. That's what you're supposed to do as a linebacker. You know, Fred Warner will throw a guard out of his way to get to a linebacker, and he'll cover a tight end 30 yards downfield. The Eagles don't necessarily have that, but they have guys who are given an assignment and they execute the assignment as long as they're kept clean.
You know, I'm glad you brought all of that up because I was trying to explain to Dolphin fans here and trying to give them insight on the team and on Fangio because all over the place, media, fans, they're all saying, oh, we need a thumper in the middle and all that. And I kind of fell into that hole. And then I got a call from the building and I go, hey, I heard your show. Just so you'll know, that's not what Fangio does.
Right.
He doesn't want a thumper. He wants agile linebackers.
Yes.
And he wants guys that can move around. And then they go to me, we did get David Long, right? Do you think he didn't improve it? You think he didn't want David Long? Right. And then what I was trying to explain to Dolphin fans, which is what's happening with you guys, the complete opposite. The front line for the Dolphins isn't doing the goddamn job, dude.
No.
They're not getting off blocks. They're not tearing down the run game. They're not penetrating. They're not disrupting. They're not holding up guys. They're not freeing up the linebackers. They're allowing the linebackers to get run over with guys penetrating and all that. And that's been the problem. The Fangio system is based on the front doing their job to free those linebackers up so they can free flow all over the place, which is what your defense does. Your defensive nasty ass front tears it up and makes the offensive line's job so impossible that then those backers are free to penetrate, go across the field, do all those things. And that's the missing ingredient right now for the Miami defense, which has not been the missing ingredient for those Eagles for several years now.
There were a couple of times this year, and we've seen it in the past, but it really jumped out this year, just sort of because the team's a little bit newer in certain areas, but not offensively. But they do have DeAndre Swift, which he's been there, as good as okay as Miles Sanders was. DeAndre Swift's like a different level of wow. But really, it starts with the offensive line, as I was talking about. And there were a couple of times this year where the Eagles just, I don't know if you remember the Minnesota game, that was on prime time, where they said, you know what? Flores, as you guys know well, he's doing this thing where he's just going to play 5 guys in the box, and 2 of them are going to be linebackers, and they're in the A gap. So what we're going to do is just pound the shit out of that defense. And the Eagles ran the most simple inside. Mike McDaniel, I actually used McDaniel and Shanahan as pulling to the left and a tight end doing a wham block to the right, and they're moving. All the Eagles did was line up and run inside zone, inside zone, inside zone, inside zone, and they ran for 250 yards.
When you're that much better, bro, you can just do that shit.
You can just do that. Yeah, guys,
They know what's coming, but you cannot stop. It's the whole Lombardi thing.
Right.
The Lombardi's like, they know what we're gonna do, but if you execute, the play will work every single time. And
it was like instead of Packer sweep left and Packer sweep right, it was just DeAndre Swift inside zone, inside zone, inside zone. You get Landon Dickerson's 330 pounds. Jordan Mailata's 360 pounds. Jason Kelce he's obviously undersized, but he's helping somebody out. And then on the right side, you had Cam Jurgens at 310 and Lane Johnson. So they're putting double team block. And Dallas Goedert is a really good blocker, by the way, for a tight end. So you're putting 6-on-5 and double teaming the inside. And I swear, DeAndre Swift's good, but he'll tell you, just like the linebackers making tackles because the gaps are wide and easy, he was just running through the freaking Red Sea. I mean, like, it was just everything. I could have ran through it for 10 yards. Now, I couldn't have hurdled the safety like DeAndre Swift was doing to get the extra 10 yards, but there are times they'll do that, and I suspect against Miami, right, you're trying to keep the ball out of their hands. You're trying to be a time of possession team. You're trying to limit Miami. So I would think going into that game, their plan is to see if Miami can stop them on the ground and try to have long, sustained drives to stay with them. And by the way, Miami, I would say the Eagles are probably
possessions, dude. You give Miami a ton of possessions, you're going to pay the price.
Long night, right?
Price.
And the Eagles have the firepower, by the way, to hang with Miami. I mean, you know, it's funny. I was doing a radio interview, and someone said the Miami Dolphins are scoring all these points. Do they have better offensive personnel than the Eagles? And I said, well, you know, obviously Tyreek Hill's the best player on the field.
The outside, I think they might be better in the receiving core and maybe total running game, actually.
I mean, you would say the Eagles are the better offensive line and running back.
Not even close. Yeah,
right. I would say Dolphins receivers. I mean, it's kind of a choose your flavor type thing, but if you matched your two versus the Eagles two, I think I would give the Dolphins the edge, but not by a whole lot. But tight ends, I'd probably put
it's not even close. It's not even close.
I'd probably put the Eagles up. So
by the way, a couple of years back, Dallas Goedert was the guy I wanted.
Oh, really?
That's the guy I wanted. I wanted Dallas Goedert. I didn't. But Gesicki, I had after.
You got my Penn State guy instead, huh?
Because I wanted a blocker also, and in the end, he actually would have survived here because that's what Mike needs. Mike doesn't want a one-dimensional tight end. Right. Goddard would have survived. Gesicki's just not a blocker. That's just not his thing, dude. Definitely. It's not that he can't be serviceable and really good for somebody as long as you use him for what he is, a big-ass receiver. But Goddard was the guy that I wanted out of the draft that year, dude.
Yeah, you guys need a guy from the Midwest. You need an Iowa guy. You need a South Dakota guy. You know, someone who's ate a lot of corn growing up, but also knows how to catch the ball too. That's the type of guy you need.
All right, so tell me about Hurts because you watch every single down. From afar, I was super impressed with him last year, how he really fine-tuned his accuracy. It seems like he might be a little on and off sometimes this year. He hasn't been nearly as consistent as he was last year. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think that's accurate. Some people want to say he's regressed, and I don't fall into that. Like, all of a sudden, you're not the guy you know, every time Josh Allen loses a game, Google regress. Does Josh Allen regret? And then the next week he comes back and throws 4 touchdowns. My personal opinion, and I'm sure you've watched a lot of football, there's only like 3% of the NFL of players who are so elite that they just play great every single week, Your Tom Brady's, your Aaron Rodgers, right? Jalen Hurts isn't there yet. He's certainly a great quarterback, but he has inconsistency.
Lane Johnson, by the way, is that guy.
Perfect example, Lane Johnson, right? So it's I went into this year, did not think that Jalen Hurts was going to just pick up where, like, teams are trying to scheme you all off season. We saw defenses doing way different things the first 3 weeks against the Eagles than they ever saw last year. So I think that, coupled with the new quarterbacks coach, new offensive coordinator, even though they're in-house guys, it's new roles, right? So I just think that in general, he the one area where I feel like he took a huge step last year and maybe he's not this year is that sometimes he leaves the pocket at perceived pressure, but not actual pressure. There's a difference, right? And now against the Jets, when Lane Johnson went out, there was actual pressure. So I don't blame him for getting out of the pocket.
They're for real. That Jets defense is the shit.
Oh yeah, they can bring it. They
bro, and they got just like you guys. They bring another wave off the damn bench. Okay, yes. They got depth, bro, on that defense. Holy shit, they are for real, bro. Scary.
Yeah, well, their general manager is Joe Douglas, and where did he come from? Eagles via Baltimore, which is the same kind of philosophy. So he's tried to fix the offensive line. It hasn't helped that much, but they're getting unlucky with injuries there.
I try to explain to people, and dude, you do this for a living like I do, and covering the draft, and you travel like I do, and you know people in the league like I do. Scouts will tell you now. They tell me all the time, oh, it's a fucking crapshoot for me to scout an offensive lineman. Nobody runs the ball anymore. There are no unless Alabama, Georgia, or somebody obvious that has their hand on the ground. but everybody's in a 2-point stance. Everybody's passing. We're all projecting what this guy will be as a run blocker. It is near impossible to scout offensive linemen now, and it has become a problem for the entire league. Like I said, I know you guys don't have that issue that much over there, but
actually they do. I mean, the Eagles missed on Andre Dillard, right? I mean, he was a 2-point stance guy, right? I mean, it happens. They just happen to get really lucky with a rugby player who's 350 pounds. So he naturally moves people. I don't want to say lucky. Jeff Stoutland's a great offensive line coach, but you get what I'm saying, right? You know,
but you know it, right? Scouts have told you now that scouting an offensive lineman is completely different now because college football changed their game. You know, 15, 20, 30 years ago, you could find a road grader and you know exactly what they look like. Now, oh my God, you are guessing now at this point.
Sure. Look at the Giants with their right tackle. I mean, you think a guy who played at Alabama, right, and top 5 is going to be awesome, and Evan Neal has struggled. Now, the Eagles tend to, and I think that's part of their scouting philosophy, they really hit well on interior offensive linemen, guys who are in that stance, who are playing in the Midwest where they still run the ball, whether it's Kelsey from Cincinnati, right, or even Landon Dickerson in Alabama via Florida State. Cam Jurgens played at Nebraska. So you know that they've got that sort of lineage or bloodline of being able to run block. Cam Jurgens was actually a tight end, but then he moved to center. So they're pretty good at that. But yeah, like I said, a tackle, they missed on Andre Dillard. They just happen to be able to make up for it with Jordan Mailata.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, what prediction you got? What's going to happen?
Yeah, this is tough. I by the way, I have not seen the line or over under. What are we looking at? One
Eagles. 2 points.
And what's the over under? That's what I'm really
52.
52. Which is actually kind of low given that these are the top 2 offenses going up against each other, right? Both one averages 26 points, one averages 30-something points. So, but I like that. I do think it's not going to be as high. I think both teams are really good at not just being explosive, but maintaining long, sustainable drives, and that tends to keep the score a little lower. So I'll just go homer here and say the Eagles win like 27-23.
Yeah, they're home. And they're the better team. And so I'm not surprised you're picking the Eagles. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it would not shock me at all if Miami Dolphins won. I think the thing that would surprise me, though, is if this thing was like a 41-38 type.
I would be surprised if it's a blowout either way. I would be shocked. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm hoping the Dolphins can finally cross that threshold because they need to cross that threshold. They're good. But do you want to be great? Well, if you want to be great, you got to beat the Bills, you got to beat the Eagles, you got to beat the Chiefs, you got to beat those kind of teams if you want to be great. That's my theme for this team. I know they can beat the mediocre and the average. They've proven that those kind of teams aren't going to hang with them. Right. This is the test here. The Eagles are the test for them. Jeff, as always, my brother, appreciate you taking some time, man. Enjoy the weekend and enjoy the game, my friend. Thank you.
Appreciate it. I'm happy for you, by the way, because I know you've always been an advocate for Tua and for Chris Greer, who I think is a good personnel evaluator and GM. And, you know, there's been a lot of bad luck and maybe from top down issues with the Dolphins, but it looks like they're finally getting together. So that's good.
Yeah, dude. I mean, the fan base deserves it's like Detroit, bro. Like, how do you not root for the Lions, bro? I get it. If, you know, they're playing the Eagles, you're going to root for the Eagles, but outside, or if the Lions are playing the Dolphins, obviously I'm rooting for the Dolphins, but I am so happy for that Lions fan base. Bro, they've suffered long enough already, man. Jesus Christ. They need some happiness, bro.
Definitely.
And I think my Dolphin Nation needs a little happiness too. So
I agree. I only root for 2 things: no overtime, and that everybody watches Inside the Birds or listens to Inside the Birds podcast.
And check out Inside the Birds. There you go with my man Jeff. Jeff, thank you, my brother. Appreciate
Thanks, brother. Take care.
You got it. Jeff Mosier, Jeff P. Mosier, Inside the Birds. Make sure you follow him there. Great breakdown of the Eagles and the Dolphins. Our number 2 is next. Matt Verderam from Sports Illustrated kicks it off.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646. The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All righty. There he is. So, by the way, Matt, good morning. And great line that, what is it? Chiefs games have now turned into, what is it?
Slice of Americana at this point. It's a social, it's a social phenomenon at this point. So for anyone who's like, what the hell's happening? I wrote a piece for Sports Illustrated that went up today. I wrote it over the weekend, but it went up today about how the Chiefs have just become this like larger than a sport thing. And the reason I wrote it was I went to the game on Thursday night. I took my daughter for her first NFL game and went with my dad. And went as a fan, which I haven't done in years, right? So we went.
You got a friendship bracelet.
Oh boy, yeah, we got, yeah, yes, we did. Although not at the game, outside the game. But in any event, so they win, and everybody. I mean, Mays had a great time, and that was cool, and that was the point, right? And so it's funny because we're at the game, and she's a huge Taylor Swift fan, and so of course she's Swift's in the building. We didn't see her or anything. She's in the building, so Mays thought that was cool. Then we come back to home base, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about it, and I've been debating writing this for weeks. And I turn on Saturday Night Live, and the first skit is the crew making fun of the whole Kelce Swift romance, and then they cut to Travis Kelce, and then 30 minutes later, Taylor Swift is introducing the musical guest, and I was like, all right, I'm going to write this piece, right? So it is just, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's funny. It's sometimes cringeworthy, depending on your viewpoint. But it's, if nothing else, it is in your face.
When does she perform at a halftime of a Chiefs game? I mean, that's going to happen, bro. And the Chiefs. By the way, the day they do that, the Chiefs should build like an extra stadium on top of the stadium and fill that too at the same time. Might as well. You know what I'm saying?
It is crazy. It is unlike. I mean, I really was trying to be, obviously, fair and honest. I don't think there's been an NFL team that's drawn this interest since maybe the 90s Cowboys, but I even think probably the 85 Bears are more of a realistic, like the Super Bowl shuffle and all the national attention. Because as great as the Patriots were for 20 years.
Compare it to the big three in the Heat.
Oh, I'm just talking NFL, but yeah, like.
That's what I would compare it to, except the hate is not there. Like there was a hate for the big three because
it's almost like the Jordan Bulls.
And bringing the three together, whatever. Yeah. Even though Boston had done it a couple of years before the same way, but they killed LeBron.
Yeah.
But without that hate stuff, I mean, the Chiefs, dude, are like getting the attention of the world because of Swift, dude.
Well, I think I hesitate to compare it to this team, but it's almost like the Jordan Bulls. Now, the Jordan Bulls were more dominant. I mean, they won 6 out of 8 titles, but like in terms of the attention paid to them, like for an example. We watched the Sunday night game with the Bills and the Giants. The Bills and the Giants. And the Giants lose the game. And they deserve to lose the game. They stunk all night long. But Teron Johnson gets away with a penalty in the end zone that let's face it, should have been called 10 times out of 10. Okay? That happens. And the Bills are a championship-level team. And there was like a murmur about it that night, and then it went away. If the Chiefs had done that in that spot, it would have been mitigated for 4 days. There would have been a Pro Football Talk investigation, and there would have been all kinds of, it's rigged, because the attention level is just astronomical, right? And so I figured, what the hell, I'll write about it and kind of, for posterity, if nothing else.
That is awesome. All right. By the way, what'd you think of Justin Herbert this week? I tweeted out before the game, 2 choking teams. It'll come down to who gives it away last.
Yes.
It was the prediction of all predictions for that game right there. And it was either going to be Dak or Herbert, but one of them was going to give it away. It's amazing to me how, all the talent in the world, but the substance is just not there.
It doesn't matter. No, it's funny. So after the game, I tweeted out, because you get these people that immediately are like, well, it's not Herbert's fault. It's like, okay, look, I got to tell you, I watched that whole game. It's kind of his fault. Like, they gave up 17 points, and he missed Keenan Allen on what should have been the easiest touchdown in the world. I mean, that ball, lay it out there, man. He's going to walk in the end zone. Like, it's a blown coverage. He doesn't do it. And then
there were a couple red zone opportunities that he just didn't.
Right. He missed some throws down there. He can't convert.
He threw to Palmer late as hell, that if Palmer was going across free, if he throws it ahead of time with motivation, it's there.
So I tweeted after the game. Now, obviously, Dolphins fans know this because Tua came out in the same class. The 3.5 years now in the NFL. 3.5 years. What is his signature win in 3.5 years?
I saw the tweet.
I went back and I looked at his game logs because I was like, maybe I'm forgetting something. I think it's fair to say that the biggest win he's ever had was in week 3 at Arrowhead in 2021. In a year they lost the division by 3 games. I think that's the one. Like, if that's the one, that's a big problem. Like, that's not a signature win. Now, look, I had people say to me, well, what's this guy's signature win? What's that guy's? Some guy actually said to me, well, what's Trevor Lawrence's signature win? I was like, it came against Justin Herbert. That's his signature win. But if you're going to be considered among the elite, you got to have that game. I mean, you don't have to win a Super Bowl necessarily. He's young, but like, can you win a game that matters? That game to me was a microcosm of why I never trust Staley ever. Herbert in these games, as great as he is, I'm not going to lie to you. When they got the ball back with 2.5 minutes left, my immediate thought was, there's no chance of tying this game. 0. Like, it's going to end in a pick. And as soon as I thought that, he threw an interception and the game was over. Like, you knew that, and I was like, you would never think that about a healthy Burrow or Allen or Mahomes or the way Tua is playing right now, the way Goff is playing right now. You would have confidence that now maybe it doesn't happen every time, but you'd have confidence that guy's going to get down the field. The second the Chargers got that ball back, I was like, they're not scoring. They're not going to score to tie this game, and they never even got close. They didn't get a first down.
And I'm so glad you mentioned Trevor Lawrence, because that's the guy that I compare Herbert to, because everybody loves the size, the athleticism, the arm. He can run. Okay, dude, is he accurate? Is he smart? Is he clutch? Does he win in big moments? Okay, I want you to go look at the guy named Trevor Lawrence. Just like Justin Herbert, the difference is watch his demeanor. Watch the way that guy plays. He plays every play like it's the last play of his life. He sells out every single moment. He did it at Clemson, and he's done it in Jacksonville with that team. And at times when he doesn't have enough, and somehow he finds a way to lift people above, like he did last year when they were on a streak, and he was just like doing all kinds of shit. When I look at Justin Herbert, I see Jeff George, I see Jim Everett, I see guys that, they have skills. There's no doubt they can throw the hell out of the ball, but I don't see a determination, a fire that plays behind it. I see, when I look at Herbert, I see Surfer Boy, and I see a guy that's like, all right, cool, whatever, let's go. And I don't see a guy that is playing with the kind of fire that I need from my quarterback at times. And it's just one of those things to me. Two different players, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert, even though physically they can do a lot of the same things. But Trevor's the guy that I would trust in the moments that you need.
I trust him more. There's no question. Your buddy here, Resolute Graphics, was saying that he reminds him of Tony Romo, and it's funny because on the radio yesterday, I literally compared him to Tony Romo. So I would completely agree. That's who he reminds me of as well. Like you watch the games with Romo. Romo was a very good quarterback.
Yes.
And he could make every throw, and you could win a lot of games with him. But in the big moment, you never felt like he was going to win the game. You always felt like, yeah. In fact, I'll give you a great example. So obviously, I grew up in New York. You can't tell. And I remember they were playing the Giants the year that the Giants beat the Pats, the undefeated team, right? And it's 07. And it was that divisional game, if you'll remember, when Dallas is 13-3 and they're hosting that game. And I remember, Eli Manning's going in there. And as that game got later and later and later, you're like, and Eli, for all of his flaws, has a penchant late in these games. Like, he just wins. He pulls these games out of the fire. And on the other side of the field, like Romo's a better pure passer than Eli Manning, but I have no faith that Romo's going to find a way to win this game.
Right.
None. And
Right.
I think you're getting to that point, if you're not already there, with the Chargers, where you look at them and go, yeah, you know what? They got guys on that team that you know their names, but what does it ever amount to? And I got to tell you, after this year, like you think it's bad now, go look at their cap sheet. Mac's gone after this year. Williams is gone after this year. Allen might be gone after this year. Eckler's gone after this year. I mean, and they still have no room for anybody to come in because they're going to eat a ton of dead cap on 3 of the 4 names I just mentioned. So,
And who owns the team? And who owns the team?
yeah, someone who will spend no money. So it's over. Like they also, one note that is interesting with them that people don't realize, when they moved to Los Angeles, they had to pay $500 million relocation fee. Like, you don't think that has some influence on who they're? There's a reason Brendan Staley's still the coach of that team. Okay, like if Brendan Staley was the coach of a team that, like the Giants, the Steelers. Now the Steelers are made a bad example. They've had 3 coaches since like the dawn of television. But the Chargers don't want to spend the money. Sean Payton would have rather have gone there than the Broncos, but they weren't going to pay Sean Payton, so he wasn't going there. Now maybe as it works out, maybe that works out well for the Chargers.
It would have given Champagne the power he wants, which would
Correct.
have led to them spending even more money, which,
Yes.
of course, the Walmart folks aren't going to care because they print money.
Right.
But
Right.
the Spanos family, they're notorious for being
It's family business for them.
Yeah.
The family, for the Broncos ownership, like you mentioned, like Walmart's their business. And the Broncos are something that they want to win with and they're fun, and that's great. The Chargers, the Bengals, those are family businesses. Like that's where the source of the money comes from. The Crafts in New England, the Patriots are their football team. That's not where the main source of their businesses come from. Jerry Jones with the oil business, right? Like it's different. When you're the Spanos family, and by the way, you're having infighting in that family, okay, and you're having a power struggle there, like it's a totally different deal than another team that might go, yeah, all right, we have generational wealth from outside the NFL. It's a different deal, a different story completely.
Well, you get the choker this week. He gets to play the Chiefs, so that should be fun. What do you think Sunday night? Are the Dolphins ready to cross the threshold from being good to being great? If you want to be great, you got to start beating the great teams, including your favorite team in a couple of weeks, Kansas City. But what happens this Sunday night? What do you think?
I got to tell you, I've had a really hard time with this game because on one hand, Philadelphia's biggest weakness is stopping the pass, and Miami can obviously throw the football. Okay, I don't want to spoil it, but I just did my quarterback rankings for tomorrow, and Tua right now is my MVP. If I had a vote, he'd be the MVP of the league. He's been great. So on one hand, I think that Miami matches up well in that regard. On the other hand, I don't think it bodes well that the Eagles just lost to the Jets, and they are going to be keyed up for this game because, look, they're human beings, right? You beat the Jets, maybe you're fat. Now they're going to have, the full attention. I wonder in this game, I guess I'll put it this way. My biggest question is, can Miami slow down Philadelphia in this game? Because Philly, for all of its, for Hurts's 7 picks and anything else, like, they're as explosive as anybody in football. They can throw down the field. They can run after the catch. They can obviously just body you at the line of scrimmage and run the ball. I mean, that's why they're as great as they've been the last couple of years. If Miami can hold the Eagles to under 27 points, I think they will win the game. That's my threshold. So to me, that says you got to be good situationally on defense, win in the red zone, win on third down here and there. Don't beat yourself with penalties. I think it's a coin flip of a game. I really do. I just think it comes down to, can Miami get the 3rd and 5 stop at midfield? Can they limit them in the red zone? Like if the Eagles get into the red zone 4 times, can you force them to kick 2 field goals? You do that, I think Miami wins the game. If you can't, obviously it becomes much tougher.
Yeah, and I'm with you. That's going to be the key, is passing for Miami.
No
because
question.
that secondary is hurting right now. The good thing for Miami is they got a quarterback that knows how to make quick decisions.
Yeah,
and that's an incredibly hard thing to do in the NFL, to be able to deliver the football with conviction inside 2 seconds, that you know exactly where the receiver is going to be and who's going to be open. That you know what I love? You know what I love, Matt, and you've been following this enough to know. I laugh when somebody says, well, anybody can do that. No, bro.
No.
You have no idea. It takes a special quarterback to be able to do that stuff there, where you're able to get in the kind of rhythm that you can find somebody all the time in 2 seconds. Doesn't matter the speed and all that. Yeah, it helps, but you still have to deliver it, and you're delivering it with anticipatory skills,
yes,
which is something that probably 80% of the quarterbacks in the league don't really have.
Well, and I think a lot of it is, so people misconstrue, like there are times when you're going to run a quick screen or a one read, a little quick out. Like, yes, those are the throws any quarterback in the world, if you're even decent in the NFL, you make that throw. What's harder is when you've got like a 3-level throw, right? And so you've got a slant, or a flat route, and then a corner route and a go route. And you've got to decide, like, that, where's it going? Is that, am I reading the safety right? Am I reading the linebacker underneath right? That's what separates the good quarterbacks, the bad quarterbacks, and the great quarterbacks. And Tua's done a great job this year of, look, hey, if Tyreek Hill's one-on-one, it's going there, period. Ball's out, and it's accurate. If I have a read where they're going to double Tyreek or they're going to double Jalen Waddle down the field and I can get the ball underneath, cool, great, I'm going to take that. And if you're the Dolphins, look, more and more and more as this goes. To me, there's no question. Teams are going to start to just do what they did to Kansas City years ago when they had Tyreek Hill. They're going to play a shell coverage and say, beat us underneath, go 12 plays. Now, the Dolphins are more than capable of doing it. The thing that becomes hard with that is like anything, the more you have to do something, the more there's a chance for a penalty or a drop or something like that. And so, it gets a little harder in the red zone. But if you're Miami, that's what you're going to see more of. And Tua is ideally suited to deal with it because he will just throw the ball accurately and hit a guy in stride and go. They're the fastest team in the NFL. And so I expect Philadelphia in this game to play a lot of zone coverage, back off. I think Miami's going to move the football. I'm not even concerned.
Yeah,
the Dolphins are going to move the ball. To me, this game is about situational play. 3rd down, red zone. Do you win those battles? If you win those battles, you win the game. And obviously, it goes without saying, you can't turn the ball over. That's the kind of thing in this game. If you turn it over in your own zone, in your own end of the field, you give up points. If you turn it over down at the other red zone, you'll lose a shot at 3 or 7. That's where you can get away with that against a team like the Giants. You can throw 2 picks against the Giants. It doesn't matter. The Giants aren't any good. You do that against the Phillies, the Buffaloes, the Kansas Cities on the schedule. That's when you end up in trouble. And the truth is the other way, too. If Hurts has another game where he throws 2 picks, they're losing.
Yeah.
They're losing the game. So who makes the 3rd down conversions, the red zone conversions, and who avoids the big mistakes?
Yeah, and Miami's going to have a couple of those defensive stops because Philly's going to want to punch them in the mouth.
No question.
Down their throats.
Yep.
and limit the possessions that Tua has. Well, defense, you want to win this game, you're going to have to stop them a couple times, and you need to give your offense the ball a couple more times in all of this, because if you allow long, sustainable drives and limit the possessions, it's going to really limit your chances to winning that game. That's for damn sure. So they're going to definitely have to do something along those lines, right?
Yeah, there's no question. Look, if you're Philadelphia, you want to see if Miami can hold up at the line of scrimmage because that's Eagles' biggest advantage against almost every team they play. They have a great offensive line, right? And we'll see what happens with Lane Johnson this week, which is huge because he's the best right tackle in football. So, if you're the Eagles, you want to get the ground game going. You want to punish Miami up front. You want to get this into 2nd and 4, and you want to be able to play action off that and get A.J. Brown or Devonta Smith in a deep shot. if you're Miami on first down, you want to be able, obviously, to say, hey, look, if we can get you to 2nd and 8, we know you got to throw the ball, it changes the game. Not to say they can't do it, but it becomes more of a one-dimensional type game. And so it's hard. I mean, look, the Eagles are multifaceted. They have a very good rushing attack where the quarterback also factors in. And then you've got Goddard as well, along with those 2 receivers. You can throw the ball down the field. So, and Brown is a unique beast in the sense that he is fast enough to make a 50-yard play down the field, and he's big enough to just body anybody. I mean, the guy is like a power forward in basketball. So I think that's a huge part of this, where if Miami early downs, do you take a chance and put an extra guy down in the box and say, you know what, we're not letting you run the ball on 1st and 10. We're not going to do it. We're going to force you into longer 2nd and 3rd downs. It's a risk because then they could throw the ball maybe a little easier on 1st. But I think if you're Fangio, you mix and match your coverages, you roll them, and you try to create a little bit of confusion.
Does Caleb Williams and his agent actually know NFL rules? Like, and the other thing is, does this kid actually think that an owner is going to give him any kind of piece of ownership when you haven't proven squat in this league? Look at Anthony Richardson. And I know Caleb is a much more polished quarterback coming into the NFL than Anthony Richardson any day of the week and twice on Sundays. We don't even know if Anthony Richardson will ever have accuracy to be even good enough to play in this league, to be quite honest. But still, you could go out in a year with a devastating career-ending injury, and you think, first of all, it's illegal, but you think an owner is going to give, some snot-nosed kid out of college a piece of the pie? Like, where are we going now?
Let me be clear. Even though, as you point out correctly, it's they can't do it if they want to. Okay, there's a 0% chance. There's a better chance that I go win Powerball tonight. Okay, than that. There is no chance. There's 0.000 infinity and beyond. Like, no chance. There's not. Look, it is ridiculous to think an NFL owner is going to turn over 1 percentage point of his franchise to anybody on the team. Like, look at some of the greatest players in football right now. Jerry Rice didn't get a piece of the Niners when he was playing for San Francisco. Okay, Mahomes isn't getting a piece of Kansas City. Like,
Brady didn't get a piece of the Patriots, bro.
It's not happening. Like, it's years and years and years ago, about 25 years ago now, Elway actually was discussed by Denver's Pat Bowlen, who now, of course, has passed on. But at the time, there was a discussion about, like, well, maybe we give you a lesser contract in exchange for when you retire, getting some ownership. He took the bigger contract. He probably should have taken the ownership. But that was at the very end of his career when it was basically, and by the way, that I don't even know would have passed the NFL sniff test. That was way before my time. But there's a 0% chance Caleb Williams is getting an ownership stake. What if Caleb Williams goes to a team and he's terrible, right? Like, then what? Like, hey, listen, thanks for the memories. And oh, by the way, here's 2%. Like, right. I mean, some of this stuff that comes out, you really wonder, like, A, how does it even get leaked out? Who's leaking that out? Was the agent like, hey, this is a good idea, I'm going to let everybody know about this? I mean, that's
a bad agent. That's a bad agent.
Yeah, it's not a great decision. Like, I don't know how that got leaked, but I don't know what the purpose of that would be. No, it's not happening. No chance.
I mean, it's just absolutely. Can you imagine the Pandora's box that you're opening up when you do that?
Right. No, it's not happening.
No, it's not. It's not going to happen.
What happens if he gets like
right now? We're in the middle of, because this guy's an idiot, but Mark Davis is now second guessing his offer to Brady because apparently the percentage he offered to Brady, he also offered it at like some ridiculous discount, which then all of a sudden now all the other owners are like, yo, what the hell are you doing, dude? You're devaluing us as it is. It's kind of like it's kind of like what Elon Musk continues to do to his Tesla owners. To be quite honest,
it's not great.
It's actually disrespectful, disgusting, despicable what you're doing, because you mean I bought this type whatever for $50,000, and now because of everything going on, you're now selling it for $40,000?
Yeah.
You're not selling for 37. So
Yeah.
my resale value now is getting even worse for my car all of a sudden because you're lowering the price. That's the kind of shit you're doing. You know what I mean? And so now you got Mark Davis with the terrible haircut trying to figure out, well, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? This will never.
That is a haircut. By the way, I also would love to ask Caleb Williams and his agent if this story has legs. Like, so what is the end game if you get traded? Like, right. Then what? Like, you're going to play against a team you own? I mean, like, what is happening? I mean, it was just, by the way, which is why it's illegal, for the record. Like, that's why it's against league bylaws. Yeah, it's sometimes stories come out that you really just go like, what? What happened? That's one.
Yeah, there you go. What'd you think of Jalen Ramsey's news? I mean, I kind of reported 2 weeks ago that he would play in the first 2 weeks of November, but whatever. But anyway, so now it's come to fruition that he is headed to the field, which, of course, is for my window of early November. And you practice the next 2 weeks, you will probably be activated in the next 2 weeks after that.
Yeah, no, good job by you. I would suspect, because what is it? The Dolphins play this week, and then they play against New England next week, correct?
Yeah.
And then they play Kansas City, and then they have a bye. So the question becomes, do they activate him for the Chiefs game, or do they wait till after the bye? My guess is it's probably after the bye. I mean, just give him that extra time. But who knows? If he's healthy enough, he feels good, he can play.
Yeah,
supposedly
it's some freak shit that's going on behind the building. Like, he is, like, really ahead of schedule. Like,
he's great.
Ridiculously ahead of schedule.
Well, maybe we'll have him and Aaron Rodgers playing later in the year against each other. Aaron Rodgers apparently ready to come back like on Tuesday. So that's I've never seen like we don't have to get like too deep in the weeds on this, but he's just like, yeah, I believe in the power of wanting to heal my foot, so it's going to heal. Like, that's not the way this works. But good for you. I mean, listen, in all sincerity, I hope he heals as fast as he can. But like, to sit there and say, I think I want my Achilles to heal, therefore it will. I mean, listen, man, I believe in the power of positive thought, and God bless you. But I also believe in like the people who went to school for 10 years for this and like do this every day. There's nothing worse in life than the guy who's like, listen, I have no training in fixing my car. I know nothing about cars, but I'm going to fix this broken axle because I went on Google. And so I know more than my mechanic does. It's like, no, man, you're going to get somebody killed because your axle is going to break 50 feet down the street and you're going to go right into a tree. But good for you. You think you can do it, so do it. It's some of these people, man, like, just listen to the experts in your field. They know what they're doing. There's a reason they're experts in their field.
And by the way, but he's an expert in everything. But the bottom line is, it was a terrible offensive line, and now it lost Vera Tucker. Good luck, bro.
Good luck. Not good. It's not good. Like, I'm going to take the other, in all seriousness, if I'm the Jets, like, I would be deeply concerned if you put him out on the field and he re-tears his Achilles. Like, he's now probably not starting next season, right? I mean, because if people, you'll remember this because you will, I would imagine, remember this. In 97, Jerry Rice tore his ACL week 1. Mm-hmm. And he came back like 3 months later against the Broncos on a Monday night game. And people were, I remember being like, oh my God, like, really? And he blew his knee out again in that game. And it was like, yeah, you know what? You probably should have done that. Now he's Jerry Rice. He's a freak. And he came back and had like 5 more 1,000-yard seasons. But
Ryan Tannehill did it here. He blew out his knee. And then he thought that it could heal magically, that he didn't need surgery. And sure enough, first week of practice, blew out his knee and he was out for the season instead of having the offseason surgery. So then he could be ready for the season. So then when training camp rolled around, you know, he thought that the knee ligament could heal on its own. Because, you know, Ryan Tannehill and Aaron Rodgers, they go to the same school of medicine, their own school of medicine. So, yeah, we've seen this before. And you bring up a great point. You bring him back early to then rupture it again.
Then you're screwed. He's out part of next year.
Yeah, and he's going to be even less mobile than he was because he's already going to be less mobile. He already was less mobile than he used to be. Now he's injured. He'll be even less mobile than that. And if he re-injures it again, by next year, he'll need a walker to play.
He might be done if he re-injures it. Like, there's a real world he's done. By the way, quickly, I want to your buddy here, Dougie Fresh, has asked me if the Finns beat Philly, where do I rank them in the league? If they beat Philadelphia on their turf, probably number one, man. I mean, at work, look, maybe you want to say, like, let's say San Francisco beats Minnesota, which they should. Like, you want to argue San Francisco's ahead. Okay. I mean, Miami would have a better win than Kansas City has at this point in time, right? So now, I mean, look, you could argue, well, the Chiefs have the Super Bowl, but right now, like this season, I mean, I think you'd have to argue Miami's at minimum top three, and I'd make a really good case that if they beat Philadelphia, you could argue them one. I think they're anywhere in the top three. Those three for me would be the top, but you could argue them any way you want to argue.
That's what I'm saying. These are the wins that you got to start getting.
That's when you're a big boy. When you start beating these teams. And look, these are the teams you're going to face in the playoffs. The Buffaloes, the Kansas Cities, the Jacksonvilles, the Phillies, if you get like these are
you want to win a Super Bowl, Buffalo and Kansas City will be in your way to win a Super Bowl.
You got to win those games. That's when you go from being you're good and you're fun to like you can win it all, is when you start beating those teams home or away, handle your business. So I think it's, listen, I mean, the Dolphins are certainly capable of it. Go out and do it. Go out and prove it.
Damn right. That's it. That's what it's all about. Follow him on Twitter at Matt Verderam. What are you working on at Sports Illustrated, sir?
Quarterback rankings coming out tomorrow. Tua made a nice jump, and I wrote about him, so hopefully you check that out. I got the matchups.
Uno is Uno.
Uno's okay. You're gonna have to find out if he's Uno. But I wrote about him, and then let's see. I got matchups to watch on Friday that'll come out. That'll kind of break down every game by one matchup that I think will define the game. So I'll write obviously about Philly and Miami as well. I've got the piece about how the Chiefs are just taking over pop culture, which I'm sure a lot of Dolphins fans can't wait to read about. But if you want to, it's there. And then Sunday's column, which runs all day long, updates after every game. I give my immediate thoughts on the game and what it means going forward. It's on the front page of SI. Also on my Twitter feed, like everything else in the world. So go ahead and check it out.
Hey, listen, we can't talk shit about what's going on in Kansas City because we went with it with the big three. We were like a cultural phenomenon. And some little soccer player came here and, the entire world tuned in also. So, we kind of can relate to all of that. So it's actually an article you should read because we've kind of been in the same trajectory at times with Kansas City in that sense. Matt, as always, appreciate you, my brother. We'll catch up next week.
Hey, you got it, man. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Matt Verderam on Twitter. He is awesome. Follow him, support him, read his stuff. He does excellent work. Let's get to our 3A Graphics sports calendar. We love Alan Blanco because he produces beautiful shirts for us, which I'll be giving some of these shirts away tomorrow at Hialeah Park. If you go tomorrow to Hialeah Park, we will have them. If you're looking for custom printing and embroidery, you call my guy, Alan Blanco, 786-618-1443. Tonight, Inter Miami is taking on Charlotte, 8 o'clock. Messi, by the way, last night scored 2 goals for Argentina. USA defeated Ghana yesterday 4-0. Reyna's kid had 2 goals in the 10th and 39th minute, and Pulisic also had a goal in the 19th minute. Panthers are off till Thursday. They will host Toronto at Amerant Bank Arena. Man, I'm learning. I'm remembering Amerant Bank. Amerant Bank, you should be happy that we're already learning the name of the arena. It's coming naturally already, which is cool. Phillies beat the D-backs last night, 10-0. Phillies 2-0. Damn, I didn't have some fun with Jeff Mosier on that. Aaron Nola, by the way, was terrific. He's 3-0 in the postseason, went 6 innings, allowed 3 hits and 7 Ks. His ERA is under 1 at .96. Man, that is awesome. Trey Turner, who the Dodgers miss, and Schwarber, who the Cubs miss, all had home runs. Schwarber had 2 of them, by the way. Trey Turner had 1. Tonight, 8:03, the Astros and the Rangers, Christian Javier and Max Scherzer, are towing the slab in that one. And then, of course, we've got Sunday night, Dolphins and Eagles. We will have our pregame show starting off at 6 o'clock, 6:15, whatever. And then the kickoff will be at 8:15. So we will be ready to go and getting you ready for the Eagles. That is our 3A Graphics Sports Calendar, custom printing and embroidery column, 786-618-1443, and visit them at 980 West 22nd Street in Hialeah. Alan Blanco, great people, man. In fact, I saw Alan yesterday. So good stuff as always. That's our 3A Graphics Sports Calendar. Let's see. What do we have here? Did I pass up any? Let me see any super chats. Let's see. G Firm says weird science offense. It is. It's on you, my brother, to make it stick. Well, on the votes right now, SunPass has 20%, Weird Science has 11%, and Greatest Show on Surf has 69%. That is a great name, Greatest Show on Surf. I love Weird Science, actually. The Weird Science offense is awesome. True Fin Fan says Herbert is the Rick Ankiel of QBs. Oh, that is awesome. Thank you, my brother. Jacob Scroggin says this team is getting reps for our second teamers while reinforcements arrive. I couldn't paint a better picture. Lamb is solid behind Armstead. Eichenberg is getting reps at center. Could Connor be at left? No, Connor's going to be at center. Okay. Connor's blocking is monstrous. And right now, Isaiah Wynn's doing a good job, and obviously Robert Hunt. So no. You don't disturb right now as was it Levert? Don't disturb this groove. Okay. Casanova. No, don't disturb this groove. That's all I can say. No. Connor gets back. He's your center. Liam's getting good playing time to develop as a backup. And that's cool. Big O, Miami Dolphins for life, going to beat the Eagles on Sunday. I hope so, Jesse. I hope so. Lenny Pena says, Herbert is today's Jeff George with better stats. Yeah, I call him an athletic Jeff George because Jeff George could not move around like Herbert. But he is the same choking type player, dude. Same guy. Jesse Johnson says, like I told you, you are a nice guy and your parents raised you very well. Sometime. Oh, man. What else do we have? The Fangio scheme is a bend but don't break in the red zone. If he approaches the Eagles that way, they're going to beat us up, hopefully as something like a blitz sleeve. Well, the blitz will not help against running, True Fin Fan. That may expose you even more. You have to be careful with that. You know what I'm saying? You have to be very careful with that. Do want to remind you about Baptist Health. They are amazing. And when it comes to Baptist Health, the staff at Baptist Health Orthopedic Care is comprised of highly specialized, board-certified, and fellowship-trained orthopedic physicians, supported by advanced practice providers and athletic trainers, all of whom play a vital role in the patient's experience. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care has locations from Monroe County to Palm Beach County, got a couple in Boynton Beach, Bethesda East and West. How about down in Doral at 9500 Northwest 58th Street? We've got one in Homestead and 975 Baptist Way, Tavernier Key, Mariners Hospital, 91500 Overseas Highway, in Marathon Key, Fisherman's Community at 3301 Overseas Highway in Marathon, Boca Regional, 800 Meadows Road in Boca, and many other locations, including the new one at Hard Rock Stadium, which is open to the public. It's not just for the players, so you could go where the pros go. Go to baptisthealth.net/ortho. Tell them that Big O sent you, man, and use that QR code there. So whatever it is, man, I've been there for my heart condition. I've been there for a colonoscopy. My daughter was born there. I mean, there's so many things why Baptist Health has been there for us here in the Alzagari family, and they can do the same thing for you. baptisthealth.net/ortho. Okay? Thank you all out there, as always. Let's see. Jay Gelfin says, my wrist surgery was a success. Just logging on the show, over 50% of the people in the chat need to smash the like button and ring the subscriber bell to help support the Big O Radio Show. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate you. What numbers do we have? Let me see what we have here. 179 for 337 watching. Come on, let's go. Let's get that baby over 250 right now. If all of you right now hit that like button, we would go well back to 300. But can you get us to 250 right now? If everybody hits the like button that's watching right now. Big O, who made your intro song? It rocks. It was Lord Productions made that one. And I wish I could get them to redo it. I'm also my buddy Steven, I've been trying to get him to redo my original open that he created, which is one of the greatest opens of all time. He did such an amazing job, and I just can't get him to do it, bro. So it's one of those things. If you got a rock band, maybe we can talk. Because I definitely would like to. If you got a rock band that would like to help us and create a theme song for us, I actually have the lyrics to it and everything. 786-754-4664. That's 786-754-4664. Also, if you want to advertise, you want to be a sponsor of our program, sponsor one of our insiders, that kind of stuff, please reach out to us. 786-754-4664. That's 786-754-4664. Do you hit the like button? Well, I see it. I don't know. Does it get refreshed? Let me see. It's still at 179. Oh, 206. Okay. It got up to 206. Not bad. Not bad. Thank you all out there that did hit it. Appreciate you all out there. Big O, real fans can appreciate your real candor and honesty about our Fins, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. I think some of you can. Yeah, you're right. There's some of you out there, you're so sensitive. It's ridiculous. It's actually really, honestly, it's embarrassing. It's childish. You get all bent out of shape because I called it a fraudulent performance against the Bills. I'm sorry if you don't have the balls to actually be honest with yourselves. I don't know what it is about in this world that we just want to lie to ourselves. You know what I mean? It's like, no, Biden's a good president. No, Trump's will be good. Like, you really want to lie to yourself about those two idiots? You know what I mean? It's like, it's amazing to me how we just lie to ourselves. So it's the same thing with the Dolphins. It's like some of you out there, it's like you got all bent out of shape. And this has happened to me 100 times in 30 years. I can give you, and I've given you the examples. I got torched for not wanting the Ndamukong Suh signing. I got torched for Joe Philbin. I got torched for Ryan Tannehill. Because right from the get-go, I said those things are going to fail. I wasn't wrong, but trust me, I get hated for it. It happens all the time, dude. All the time. Ferrari is now accepting crypto for their fine cars, means Preston Williams will need around 9 million Doge to buy one. Alexis says, agree with Baptist. They're taking care of my issues. They're great, man. They are just absolutely phenomenal. I've always had great experiences while I'm there. Oh, did you ever listen to the Mason? Oh, no, I did not. By the way, I did listen to that band this guy gave me the other day. I wrote it down and I listened to it and wasn't that impressed. I'm sorry. What's the name of that band this guy gave me? Oh, man. I know I wrote it. I remember writing it down. It wasn't that far back. I know I wrote it. Damn it. What happened? Oh, well. Somebody gave me a band the other day. And it's kind of like a electronic jazzy type band. And I appreciate the looking out, but I wasn't that impressed with it. I got to say, was not impressed. Not at all. But I'll write the one that you're saying, Jay, which, where are you? Oh, there it is. The Mason Pace Band. I will check it out, the Mason Pace Band. But somebody gave me one the other day, and it was all right. It kind of reminded me of a jazzy band that I used to listen to called Skywalker. And they're pretty good too. But it kind of reminded me like a poor man's Skywalker. Think Blue Dodger says we need that limited edition Big O Perdomo cigar. There you go. I got it. I was actually hanging out with Nick Perdomo and Nick Jr. yesterday. Because I was making some rounds yesterday, going around town and going to see different people. And so I went to go see the Perdomo family, stop by there right off of 57th Avenue in the Palmetto. You should go check it out. They got a big, giant humidor with all the Perdomo cigars in there. They got a giant, beautiful, comfortable leather couch, pool table, big TV to watch whatever's going on. It's freaking awesome. So check it out, man. If you haven't been to the Perdomo Lounge inside the Perdomo Cigar Factory right off of the Palmetto, you might think, oh, I can't go there. No, you can, man. And they got a retail store there. You can buy all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, check it out. Does Claypool catch a red zone TD this week? He plays this week. And I don't know. We'll see. We'll try. I'll let you know what? Yeah, what the hell? He catches one. Jim Rios, you're a legend, bro. Well, thank you, bro. That's too kind. I'm just an old fart talking some sports and other things. We do talk a little life and crypto and all kinds of stuff. Dolphins beat the Eagles. You can stop worrying about that right now. The Dolphins suck, says Dennis Labor. Thank you, Dennis. I appreciate you, man. Pat in Asheville says, Dolphins are frauds until they can start beating the great teams. Been watching this movie for the last 27 years. I ain't drinking the Kool-Aid yet. I'm sipping the Kool-Aid. That's why I was pissed 2 weeks ago, because I think they can beat Buffalo. And I think they can beat Philadelphia. It won't be easy. This will be the hardest game that they will play all year long in the regular season. This will be the hardest game because they're much more physical than Kansas City and Buffalo on both sides of the ball. So it's going to be one hell of a test. I need to make money in crypto so I can go see Tool. Those shows are pricey. Okay. We're about to get a pump. I'm telling you. Dougie Fresh says, I can make you a new theme song using the pan flute talents of Zamfir. Only old folks know what this means. Zamfir. All right. The Miami Dolphins should be beating the Eagles on Sunday night. I hope so, Silence Assassin. I hope so. Jim Reel says, I do music. Who's your favorite bands? Iron Maiden, U2, The Fix. Bands like that. The Cure. Those are my top four. Jalen Ramsey practices today. Yes, sir. We've talked about it. And we told you that he would play in early November. A close competitive out-of-conference loss this week wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Worked out well for 2007 Giants versus then Pats. They eventually dominated them in the Super Bowl rematch. Yeah, that sounds all well and good, but I don't want to keep putting off. Look, I'm not going to complain too much if it's a tight, close loss in a hard-fought game. I'm not going to be happy, but I won't complain. So I understand what you're saying. But here's my problem. I'm tired of that now. I want them to start to win these kind of games. I want them to take that next. I want to see a great Dolphins team. You know, when I see Big E and Gorilla Luke, you know, and Dolph Freaky and Sports Babe 305, you know what I mean? And Chris Barker, you know, all these rabid, great Dolphin fans, and some of them are young. And I see, you know, the Dolphin Bandits, those crazy bastards all painted up with the skull face and the teeth and all that shit that they put. And they're crazy painted up cars, which look absolutely awesome. You know, all that shit that these people do, you know, it's not for them to be good. I want all these freaking Dolphin fans that are maniacs. I want them to celebrate a championship, dude. I want them to start winning big. So all of these fans that we deal with all the time are Finns Nation UK, our worldwide Dolphin Club with NorCal. You know, I don't think we got any other ones there. And any of you Dolphin clubs, you can send me stickers and your logos, and we'll put them up. But all that kind of stuff, they need a championship. They need a great team. You deserve a great team. That's what needs to happen, man. That's what I can't wait for. Jalen Ramsey returning today to practice, which is absolutely amazing. I'll tell you what I may be wrong about. At least for now, I'm on pace to be wrong as hell. And the weirdest thing, okay? Hey, Sean, do you know who's leading the NFL in rushing? Yes, the Miami Dolphins. So let me ask you something. I got that part right. Not that they were lead the NFL in rushing. No, I did not. But I did get it right. I told you they're going to run the ball more this year. So because of that, what did I tell you wasn't going to happen? Tyreek Hill getting 2,000 yards. Remember that? I said, no, I don't expect it to happen. Again, for all of you out there, oh, is he being a sourpuss? Is he being a negative Nelly? No. I said he wasn't going to get the 2,000 yards because, one, well, now you got Braxton Berrios, so you've got a slot receiver that you can throw to, right? And you're going to run the ball a lot more than you did last year, which they are. But yet Tyreek Hill is still on pace for 2,300 yards. So I thought the ball would not be passed as much to Tyreek because you spread it around a little bit more and you're going to run the ball a lot more. Somehow or another, this offense is leading the NFL in rushing, and Tyreek Hill has right now on pace for 2,306 yards. The record, by the way, is 1,964. So he's on pace to completely shatter it. He's on pace to break the record in game 15 of the regular season. So I figured, okay, if you're going to run the ball, that doesn't make sense that he would pass 2,000 yards at all. Somehow or another, they're leading the NFL in rushing, and Tyreek Hill is just absolutely killing it at wide receiver and going to not get 2,000 yards. He's on pace for 2,300 yards. That's ridiculous, dude. That is ridiculous. Wow. I got to say, that is impressive. Impressive, because I did not, it just doesn't make sense. So got that one wrong. Okay. We get plenty right. We're going to get some wrong. And that one right, for now at least, it looks like I'm on pace to be wrong. Okay. The Big O listener who made the Zamfir comment almost owed me a computer monitor. Laughed so hard I spit out my coffee, says Nyborg. There you go. Let's see. Big O, 100% agree. I want greatness too. It's definitely time. Yeah, it's time. It's time. You know? George Albany says, fans in 78. It's definitely a long time for me. I want a Super Bowl. I want it badly for all of you out there, man. I've been waiting for the Finns Super Bowl since we lost to the Redskins in 83. Well, what about San Fran in 85? We lost that one too. What? You wrong? Ha ha, says Albanese. That's it. No doubt says 2K looks very possible and amazing. Yes, it is. Big O, what is your favorite band ever? It's Iron Maiden and U2. Okay. If I have to, probably U2 1A and Maiden 1B, but Iron Maiden, U2 are my bands. Those are my all-time favorite bands right there. When I was really young, it was Boston. And then eventually the other ones took over. Let's see. Ragin says, this team is as thrilling to watch as Marino Marx brothers. Actually, more than those guys. More, I would say. Because the running game just makes it so much more exciting. They were both exciting passing games, but I'm going to add the running game for the Dolphins, something that Marino never had. G-Firm, thank you for the love on the super chat. It's crazy how the majority of your foresight has come true. The floor is firing, Tua being elite, saying you'd still take Tua over Herbert. It happens, my brother. What are we going to do? You know, we kind of, and you just forgot the newest one, Jalen Ramsey, back the first 2 weeks of November. No one had that. So, we guess pretty well on this show. We guess so much, huh? It must be pure luck when you get all those guesses right. You know? Pure luck. No skill, no nothing at all. I am Sergeant Schultz. I know nothing. I saw Andy Rourke DJing in a club back in the 2000s. It was pretty cool. Small venue. Wow. That's actually pretty freaking awesome. The singer of Silver Sun Pickups is on a cameo. Brian is a good dude and would probably sing your theme for you. You know I'm a big fan of the Silver Sun Pickups. Are you like screwing around? Like, the Silver Sun Pickups are awesome. Bill, rest in peace, my best friend on the freaking planet. He's the guy that turned me on to the Silver Sun Pickups. I didn't know him until Bill Preston mentioned them to me, and then I started listening to him. Been listening to him ever since. He turned me on to Phoenix also. Didn't know Phoenix very well. My wife loves Phoenix. Just got tickets for Phoenix. It was like a month ago or something. They're coming to the Revolution Live. Can't wait, dude. That's gonna be fun. They're really good. They're a French band, and they're a lot of fun. I saw them at the Riptide last year, and now they're coming back again. Can't wait to see them. That's gonna be a lot of fun, and to see them as a headliner in a full set at the Revolution Live, that's gonna be cool. I wonder when the Revolution Live is gonna close down. Because I know it's going to close down. But I wonder when the last. I don't know if they've mentioned when is the last day when that thing is shutting down. Sam, thank you for the love in the super chat. Remember, you can also make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. Check it now if you've sent any on Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. You can send your questions, comments, insults, whatever. And you can make a Bitcoin donation, which you know, that's my favorite kind of donation, a Bitcoin donation. He says, I'm not concerned about offense heading into Sunday night. I'm worried about the front four on defense getting manhandled. If that happens, it's trouble. Amen. Amen. This is going to be a hell of a test for Miami, man. Philadelphia is rough up front. Hey, Sean, send Cam a reminder, please. Por favor.
He just sent us a text. He's about 10 minutes out.
Oh, didn't know. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got. Okay. All right. That's funny. Okay. I like that. What else do we have? Let's get into a little music and what's it called? Birthdays. Let's go with birthdays today, first and foremost. Zac Efron celebrating a birthday today. He is 36. Nayo, R&B singer, is 44 years old today. Who else do we have here? A lot of YouTube stars and TikTok stars that I have no idea who the hell they are, dude. Chuck Berry, no longer with us. We lost him in 2017, but he was born on this date in 1926. Riley Green, country singer. Don't know who the hell he is, but says country singer, so I'll mention it. Jean-Claude Van Damme. He is 63 years old today, and he's probably doing a split just to prove that he can do a split. Sophia Bethesda Thatcher, actress, is 23. Jordan Calloway, TV actor, is 33. I don't know who this rapper is. Baby Bash, she is 48. Brittany Griner, she is 33. Hey, Brittany, don't take weed to Russia anymore. I mean, I don't really have a lot of sympathy for stupidity. Hey, I'm going to North Korea. I'll take a little weed with me. Yeah, let me take a little vial of cocaine. I'll slip in some heroin. They won't mind in Russia or North Korea or Cuba or, because it only makes sense that, I'm going to those kind of countries. Let me bring drugs with me. Dumbass. Keith Jackson. We lost him in 2018, was born on this date in 1928. Lindsey Vonn, skier. She is 39 years old. And there you go. Those are birthdays today. Now, let's go with music history on October 18th. In 1957, on this date, Paul McCartney made his live debut with the Quarrymen at the new Club Moore Hall Conservative Club in Liverpool. In 89, on this date, during an LA gig opening up for the Rolling Stones, Guns N' Roses singer Axl Rose announced it would be the band's final show unless the band members got their shit together and stopped using heroin. After the incident, his bandmates promised to clean up. In 66, on this date, the Jimi Hendrix Experience played their first gig as a band when they supported French pop star Johnny Hallyday in Paris. It's crazy that Hendrix had to go to Europe to get the respect first before he came here in America. How does that make any sense? That's because they were ahead of us musically in Europe, especially on the rock end. We caught up eventually, but they were way ahead of us, boy, because that the British invasion was out of control. Anyway, in 86, Huey Lewis and the News on this date had the #1 album in the country with their fourth effort, 4, which featured songs Stuck With You and Jacob's Ladder. In 98, Metallica. And by the way, it's really sad how Huey now can't hear, and he's had all, like, you see what's her name? God, she's a phenomenal talent. Not that I'm a big fan of her music or anything, but she's dealing with an illness now, and she's a really famous singer and Vegas and everything. What's her name, dude? But you kind of feel bad. Like, look at Brian Johnson. He lost his hearing for a short amount of time, and then AC/DC went and got Axl Rose, which we just mentioned, and went on the road without Brian Johnson. And then Brian was able to get a hearing aid to figure it out, and he could do what he loves. You know what I mean? Huey Lewis can't do what he loves anymore. And you got the name for me?
Oh, is it Celine Dion?
That's it. They got it. Celine Dion. Thank you. Thank you out there. And Celine Dion now has a rare condition too that is not allowing her to sing anymore. This happened to Linda Ronstadt. God, it just, man, following music like I do, and then you admire the hell out of these talents. None of us, we all want to go out on our terms. You know what I'm saying? Look, Barry Manilow is still touring. You know what I'm saying? Charlie Daniels, rest in peace. I saw him at 80 or 81 performing or something like that, and he still sounded great, and he's performing at 80. He just passed away recently. But you want them to go out on their terms. You know what I mean? And then that stuff happens, and God, you feel terrible for them, because now they can no longer do what they love to do. In 98, Metallica performed at the Playboy Mansion to help promote Orgasmo, the upcoming movie by South Park creator Trey Parker. Boy, I wish I was at the mansion that. Well, don't you wish you were at the mansion any day? In 2000, Rage Against the Machine singer Zach Delaroche quit the band, and according to him, the group's decision-making process has completely failed. That is what happened today in Musica history. So I see Peter Gabriel's touring, and he was at the Ball Arena in Denver a couple of nights ago. So he plays 23 song set. And in the 23 songs, he plays Sledgehammer, Don't Give Up, Red Rain, my favorite song, of So, not my favorite song of his. Actually, he didn't play my favorite song. Big Time, Salisbury Hill, In Your Eyes, and BK, right? Which is 7 songs out of 23. No Mercy Street, my favorite song, Games Without Frontier, no Shock the Monkey, no Czar. I Have the Touch, I Don't Remember. And this is the part that kind of bothers me about artists. And I know that Peter Gabriel's Mr. Eccentric, but man, when people are paying money to see you and you're at the back end of your career where you don't have a lot of tours left, and a lot of your fans don't have a lot of tours left. Like, I've never seen Peter Gabriel ever live. I would love to go see him, but I'd love to go see him sing a lot of his greatest hits, or all of them pretty much. But he is so eccentric that he wants to sing all this other rare stuff that he's done and all this, and B-sides of whatever, and it's like, unless you're this hardcore Peter Gabriel fan that has seen him 100 times, then you won't, like U2, it doesn't matter what they play. I won't care in a way, because I've seen them perform practically every song except Drowning Man, my favorite song. Okay, that's the only song that they haven't played in all the concerts that I've been to. But I was just like, folks, setlist.fm. It is your savior. Make sure you download, make sure you bookmark that, because that keeps up with every tour that's out there. Put in your favorite artist and they're touring. And before you buy tickets, you want to find out what they're playing. And maybe the song list is not impressive enough, not enough classics. Like for me, I'm a snob, right? I love Depeche Mode. I don't have a problem with Depeche Mode. They came here the other night, but I didn't go see them. Why? Because only 10 out of your 22 songs are classics. It's too many that aren't classics. You're playing too many new songs that nobody gives a shit about. So for me, I chose not to go. for somebody else that hasn't seen them much, it's still a great opportunity for them. But setlist.fm is so awesome because it allows you to really know what they're playing. So that way you know if you're going to enjoy the concert or not before you go there. I know some people, well, but it ruins the surprise. What surprise, dude? Who gives a shit? So what if you know the songs are going to be played? You still got to go listen to them, watch the performance. That's really what you went for. Surprise. What song? Yeah, get out of here. Red Rain is a great song. My favorite is Salisbury Hill. Salisbury Hill is an awesome song. But in the album So, which is one of the great albums of all time, Red Rain for me, man, God, that is my favorite song in that album. That is a great song. I used to drive my sister crazy playing Sledgehammer over and over. Well, that song got burnt out, that's for sure. That's probably why. Gabriel pulling a Radiohead. No, I'm not playing that song that made us famous. Right, exactly. Bullet the Blue Sky is my favorite U2 song, says Super Boom Shack. That's a great song. You know what song I love of U2 that you never hear? Three Sunrises. Go listen to Three Sunrises. My favorite song is Drowning Man, which is on the War album, and they never play that. And I love Three Sunrises. What's the one with Rain? November Rain, I think. No, that's Guns N' Roses. Is it what is it? Something Rain. It's another one. Another song of theirs that is Rain. That is, it's from like an EP that's like U2 7 or something like that. That it's called. Probably Pat in Nashville can help me out with that one. But that's my other album. That other song, Summer Rain. Summer Rain. That's the song. Summer Rain. I love that freaking song, dude. They never play Summer Rain. That's one of those that you rarely ever hear. And I've seen U2 a shit ton. Okay? But Three Sunrises would be another one that I would love to hear, man. Three Sunrises is from an EP, Wide Awake in America EP. Summer Rain is from I think it's called 7 EP. And then Drowning Man is from the War album. So those are some. Oh, Red Hill Mining Town is. I love that. That is such a great song. Oh, how would you rank South Florida concert goers compared to other parts of the country? Very mediocre. Very, 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 very mediocre. We're much better at sports than we are in music. We suck at music. Okay? We have a very weak musical crowd, and maybe it's our demographics. We have too many people from Central and South America that don't necessarily respond to American music or English version music. You know what I'm saying? But as a concert crowd, we suck. We're one of the worst that I've ever experienced. Going around the country and going to different towns, it's not even close. Not even close. I saw Greta. I did the Triangle with Bill Preston. We saw Greta Van Fleet at Bayfront in Miami. We saw him in Orlando at some, I don't know the name of the place, but it's kind of an amphitheater. And then I saw him at Daly's place in Jacksonville. So we did the Triangle. The crowd in Miami was nothing. In Orlando, they sung every song. It's not even close. We're not good. We're not good. Maybe for Spanish, we might be better. But when it comes to American music and rock, this town sucks. That's why we don't get a lot of bands that don't come down here, because we suck. All right, it is time to I don't, but the town does. It is time to unleash the wolf pack.
We unleash the wolf pack. As we get the latest in the NFL and the Miami Dolphins with our KSDT CPA Pro Football Report with NFL Network insider Cameron Wolf. KSDT is one of South Florida's largest and one of the country's fastest growing accounting firms. KSDT CPA is a full-service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit them at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370. Here's NFL insider Cameron Wolf.
All right. How you feeling, man? I like that.
I'm good, oh. How you feeling, man?
I feel good.
Yeah.
My predictions coming to fruition, and Jalen Ramsey will be available in the first half of November. So I think he's going to play for that Kansas City game.
I wouldn't say it's a lock that he plays in the first half of November. I will say, we're going to see how he progresses. But I will say I think it was intentional for him to start his practice window today, as I reported this morning, because 3 weeks from today is the Wednesday of their bye week. And so if they wanted to be conservative, they could take him through the bye week and get 4 weeks essentially of practice before he plays his first game. If they wanted to be conservative, that's the way you can max out. They can get almost a month of practice reps if they need to ramp him up before he plays. Now, he could play a week earlier in Kansas City. I reported this morning he's not going to play this week. I guess in theory he could play against New England, but I'd imagine he's going to take at least 2 weeks. I'd imagine he's going to take at least 2 weeks. And so you see him potentially in Kansas City, I'd say at the earliest. But I do think there's a real possibility to let him play through the bye, or let him practice through the bye, and then maybe you see him the Raiders, even the Jets week.
Their problem, from what I'm hearing, their enormous problem, from what I'm hearing, he looks too good.
Yeah,
that's their problem. That's been their problem for weeks now. Mm-hmm. That they're all walking around going like, "Bro, what the hell is this guy?
Yeah,
like, is he a cyborg or something?" And that's why the caveat is what you just said. As long as there are no setbacks, obviously, because that's one thing that none of us, not even Jalen Ramsey, knows. Right. You know what I mean? He hasn't put that kind of strain on his knee. He hasn't had to cut. He hasn't had to follow around Tyreek in practice, Waddle in practice. Guys are going to cut on a dime and go in another direction like that. So that's when it's going to test him. And then the next day, the soreness, is there any inflammation, all those kind of things that they look for. Is there any stiffness? All that kind of stuff is what they're looking for. And that's the part that they haven't been through yet, so they don't know. But they are amazed at how he is just walking around and jogging or whatever like a normal person.
He's been dominant in this rehab, like as dominant as he has been on the field. Really, the last 5, 6, 7 years of his career, he's been dominant in his rehab, and he called his shot. You called it, but he also called it. He said he told it to his coaches, whatever the timeline is, I'm going to beat it by a month. And the timeline originally was December, and it's looking more and more like November. Whether it's the beginning, middle, or end, November is not something that was really envisioned by the reports and the doctors, and so he's on track to beat that for however much that's worth. So the one thing I'd say is, obviously the most important thing is to have him for December, January playoffs, and so I would err on as the conservative side, as far as, okay, he looks pretty good, but let's wait till he looks great to have him in regards to game action, in regards to taking each next step. But I do think it's a big, big positive that you're seeing Jalen Ramsey back at practice. And it's going to do a lot for the team, too. Like, I think we maybe underestimate just sort of what it's like seeing, even if he's not playing, seeing, number 5 out there at practice. Like, man, we got that dude coming. We got to up our game because he's coming, and I think that's going to be a part of it for this defense, too.
I'm going to put up this scenario for you. He's practicing, and there are no setbacks, and he looks great. Okay? This is the scenario right now. It's going to play for the next couple of weeks. It's a scenario I'm throwing out there. They win the next 2 games.
Mm-hmm. Against Philly, against New England. Okay.
They could say, we're in a really good spot right now. Let's buy him another week.
Yeah, another 2 weeks, technically. Yeah.
Right. They lose to Philadelphia. They'll beat New England, please. Tua owns freaking Belichick at this point. Now you go, well, we lost another one of those big games. We got Philly and Buffalo left. I mean, KC and Buffalo left. We got to try to get this one. And now I see him playing KC for sure, because these are the kind of teams, it's an AFC game. It's a big game in the conference, all that kind of stuff. I can almost see them, again, practicing, looking great. I can almost say, good, we can coast. We can play KC. We can hold them out. We get the bye week. We get a couple weeks. Hey, you know what? We lost to Philly. We need this kind of game. We need him here against a guy like Mahomes.
Yeah. It's an interesting dilemma. I would hope that, although every game is important and they got to make the playoffs, and that's a certain emergency, I would hope that you look a little more big picture than, hey, we're going to have him play this week just because we need to win a big game against a contender for that particular spectrum. If he is ready to go, yes. But if it's like, oh, he's 90, 95%.
I'm ready. I'm saying ready.
You're talking about 100%. Well, then if he's 100%, he's going to go. If he's 100%, he's going to go. My thing is, if he's 90% where he looks pretty good, but he's not fully there yet, I probably still err on the side of giving him another week or two, even if it's the Chiefs. But we'll see.
Although I got to tell you something. If he's practicing today,
yeah,
he's got to be looking really, really good, because they're letting him practice.
He's looking good, but football shape and football cutting, as you know, is different. Right. He hadn't played in 3 months, so that's going to take time for sure.
No, you're right. But the fact that they're already ahead of schedule, allowing him to practice.
Yeah.
That's my point, that it opens up the door for him to return earlier, because I'm sure the doctors are going over his knee over and over again. And it's like, hey, man, everything's good. And he's saying, hey, I don't feel it. Everything's great. And so I'm sure they're continuing to like second and third guess themselves and checking and rechecking his knee to make sure that he's not lying and bullshitting to them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then, as all of this is going on, for them to allow him to take the field today, what's going on behind the scenes is miraculous, bro. That's what's going on.
He's been killing his rehab, man. Like, I think you saw it early on from him. I remember I talked about it on TV. I think it was a day or two after surgery. I saw him on crutches watching from the balcony. He's watching from the balcony practice a day or two after surgery. A lot of times your immediate week or two after surgery, you're going to be, on the couch. You're going to be, eating cereal, watching Sports Center. You don't need me. I'm going to be out for 3 or 4 months, 5 months. Like, what am I being around here for? That day after, he was immediately already in the building, in meetings, watching practice. That showed me that he was literally taking it as a challenge. He wasn't accepting that the timeline they'd said was going to be the timeline for him. So, yeah, he is built a lot differently than a lot of dudes. And that same token, the team also has to protect him for himself. So it's a balance. He's recovering great. But it also is different now, running, moving well, looking close to 100% to being football 100%. And so I think you're still weeks away from that. But this is incredible news for the Dolphins. And I think it gives you a lot of optimism going into the holiday season.
What do you know about X-Men? What's the series?
Yeah, so it's not an IR worthy groin injury, from what I understand. It's something that it's going to be, if he misses time, it'll be a week or two. Now here's the issue, and this is another dilemma they have to decide. Remember last year, X played through the groin injuries. I'd imagine this is something that he technically can play through less than 100%. But if you remember, he was not that same level of X with the groin injury. And so you have to balance, do we need X badly enough that we have him play at, 70, 80%, and he deals with it all season? Or do we say, hey, we're going to shut him down for 2 or 3 weeks, a week or two, however long it takes, and he might have to miss Philly, he might have to miss New England, and maybe if we're being conservative, he may even have to miss Kansas City. But after that, we get him back 100%. I think that's some of the conversation that we're battling in. I don't know if the groin injury is as bad as it was last year, but it is something where if he plays on Sunday, he's not going to be 100%. And so that, to me, is right now the dilemma.
Oh, can you imagine playing these big games without Ramsey and X?
Yeah, and that's what I said. It's a question where the coaching staff has to determine that. X has to determine that. That's where you got to really trust your player. Of like, are you really good enough? Like, are you really good enough to open up? Because guess who knows that he has a groin injury this week?
Everybody.
Eagles, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, Brian Johnson, the offensive coordinator. And so they're going to say, oh, what do we do for groin injury? We're going to do a lot of crossing routes. We're going to do a lot of double moves and cuts and see how long he can hold up. And so that's where I think it gets a little dangerous. And you got to really ask yourself, like, it's tough. Like, I'm telling you what, if you miss this Eagles game without Xavier Howard, Devontae Smith and AJ Brown are licking their chops. And so that's something you have to face head on. But at the same time, if you haven't played through it and you say, hey, we're going to have to haven't played through it all year, are you willing to take a 80% at best X for the rest of the season? I at least through the bye. Maybe he gets a little better after the bye, but that's something they have to balance, and there's not an easy answer. Given what they saw last year, and it's just me kind of guessing because I don't know what the coaches and X have seen on the field so far, but I would think that they lean towards being a little bit more conservative and resting him and trying to get him closer to 100%. That's what they did with Connor Williams last week. That's what they've been doing with Jalen Phillips. And so I think they continue that trend if X feels like, hey, I'm just not myself this week, which we don't know yet. Maybe he says it's just a small tweak and I can go. But if he doesn't feel like he's himself, then I see them being a little conservative, at least for this week.
All right. Got to ask you this because I'm on pace to be dead wrong here on this, which is crazy. So the beginning of the season, Tyreek, I want to get 2,000 yards. And I'm like, yeah, that's not going to happen because they're going to run the ball more this year.
Yep.
Control the clock.
And they have.
Okay, but hold on a second. They're leading the league in rushing. How the hell is he on pace for 2,300 yards?
The magic of the Mike McDaniel offense. Yeah, Mike McDaniel has done something where he's kept everybody happy. Everybody's satisfied. Like even Jalen Waddle, who missed a game and hasn't really had his huge game, he's still on track for about 1,000 yards. And you could say that Jalen Waddle was maybe the playmaker that's not being used the most, quote unquote, right? And so Mike McDaniel has a unique ability, although Tyreek has put up incredible stats that everybody eats, everybody continues to eat. And so I think that Tyreek has a real chance. I'd say if he stays healthy, play 17 games, I think that record is his. He's already on pace. Like, I think right now he's on pace for 2,300 yards.
Yards, bro.
Yeah, 23, a little over 2,300 yards. And so the way that he's continuing to get the ball when everybody knows that he is the guy, like every week you go into defensive meetings, the other team, and they say 10. We got to stop 10. We got to keep our eyes on 10. Like, that is the focus, and he's still putting up 150 yards in a given week. He's going to have a dud here and there every once in a while. But the fact that he can have these 150, 200-yard blow-up games, if he stays healthy, this record is his.
Okay, so I got Dolphin fans really pissed at me 2 weeks ago because I was pissed at the fraudulent performance by the Miami Dolphins because they're not 28 points worse than the Bills, okay? And you watch the last 2 weeks. It proves it, okay? So I want to see them step up against those kind of teams from here on out. The interesting part is after I got all that rage from Dolphin fans that were like, oh, you're hating on the team. No, dude, I'm being honest. What I like now, what I've seen over the last 10 days now, I think everybody else is kind of like on this. Even the players themselves and the team themselves, they know we got to start winning the biggest games on our schedule in order to be taken seriously. And I think everybody else is kind of getting to that point. So how badly does Miami need to have the Phillies, the Kansas Cities, and the Buffaloes, those kind of wins on their resume?
I think they got to get at least one. I told you after the game this past week Guys in the locker room were already talking about the Eagles. You know, within 15 minutes of beating the Panthers, they were already, because they know that's the big one. That's the big one. Like, we lost to the Bills in one of our big ones. This is another big one. We're going to have another big one in 2 weeks against the Chiefs and the Bills and the Cowboys on Christmas Eve. Like, these are big ones. I know. But given the Cowboys are the Cowboys, it's going to be a very high eyeball game. I'm talking about as far as attention-wise. It's on Christmas Eve. It's going to be a lot of eyeballs. Micah Parsons is going to be talking. That's going to be a game. That's going to be a game that's shaped up as a big game, regardless of what you feel like the Cowboys are. And I don't think they're a true contender either. But they're 4-2.
They're not a measuring stick. Is my problem.
Right. But my point is that these are the games that guys get up for more than others. And so, absolutely, I think that for their own confidence, for the fan base's confidence, obviously too, they got to get one of these games. Like, obviously Philly would be nice, but if they get one of the two, if they get Philly or the Chiefs, I would say that they at least achieve the mark of beating one of their Super Bowl contenders. I mean, the Eagles are Super Bowl contenders, the Chiefs are Super Bowl contenders, the Bills are Super Bowl contenders. Obviously you want to beat as much as possible, but you want to beat at least one, and that at least gets you off the Dolphins have only got fat off of bad teams on their schedule. You know, that's been sort of the criticism for people who haven't truly believed in the Dolphins yet. Oh, well, they're beating up the Panthers, the Giants, the Patriots, teams like that, right? Well, if you beat the Chiefs or you beat the Eagles, that at least gets you on the board. We beat one of the top 5 teams in the league. And if you beat the Eagles on the road, you beat a top 5 team on the road with an elite defensive line. That's the same formula Buffalo beat you on: a rowdy crowd, an elite defensive line, and disrupting Tua's timing. The big challenge this week, if they can win this game, I'd imagine they get a lot of respect across nationally as maybe the best team in the league.
Yeah, I'm with you. I need one of those two, and I need the Buffalo. I need 2 of the next 3 big games. I need you to win those so I can feel really good about you going into the playoffs. And you're going to feel good about yourself, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is a really good thing. That's the important part. Like, hey, we've been there. We've done it. We've beaten them before, so we could get it done. Now, there he is. He's back. Okay. All right, what else you got going on in the NFL Network so folks can check you out, my friend?
Well, I'm actually about to head on the road in a little bit. I'm going to New Orleans. I've got Thursday Night Football tomorrow, Saints Jaguars. So I know folks watch Thursday Night Football. So tune in.
For you.
Yeah. Tune in. I'm going to go down there tonight, and I'll be on there. So if you're curious to see what I'm talking about, I know it's not Dolphins, but 6 p.m. on NFL Network, we'll talk a little Saints and Jaguars. So I'll be there pregame, postgame, and I'll be back here Friday.
You think Lane Johnson plays?
I do think Lane Johnson plays.
Okay.
I think Lane Johnson plays. I think you'll see Jalen Carter play too. I'm not sure about Darius Slay, but I do think they'll get some of their big boys back, which will be an even bigger challenge for the Dolphins.
Follow him on Twitter at Cameron Wolf. Cam, safe in your travels, my friend. We'll catch up later on in the week.
All right. Appreciate you, man. Yep.
You got it. There you go. Cameron Wolf. We unleash the Wolf Pack. And of course, if you need help with your taxes, personal or business taxes, and folks, you know, that's kind of like year round when you own a business, KSDT CPAs can help you out in so many different ways. We've got 4 different offices, 3 in South Florida, Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. Got a brand new office in North Carolina, in Charlotte, North Carolina. And by the way, they are hiring everywhere, all 4 offices. If you live in the Charlotte area, they're hiring. Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach. If you live here in South Florida, they are hiring. They do it all, and they offer so many different services, from advisory to tax to assurance. They will make a difference. Please reach out to the people at KSDT CPAs to get it done.
This has been the KSDT CPA Pro Football Report with NFL insider Cameron Wolf. KSDT is recognized by Forbes as one of the top tax accounting firms for 2022. KSDT CPA is a full-service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit them at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370.
Alrighty. Thank you all, as always, for tuning in. Super Boom Shack Miami is usually not good in prime time. I hope they change the usual results. If Miami is to beat the Eagles, they need the guys in the trenches to play their best game of the year. Yeah. Maybe play like they've never played before. Because Raekwon Davis has to play like the greatest game of his life, and he's never been great. You know what I mean? Christian Wilkins is going to have to be awesome. He's been a hell of a player for a while now, and Sealer. But a guy like Raekwon might be the most important one, overall. So it's pretty amazing. What else do we have going on in the world of sports? Oh, by the way, when sports and business collide, we like doing something called the KSDT CPA Sports Business Report. We just get rid of trolling idiots is what we do here on the show. KSDT CPA's Caleb Williams, baby. So he wants future ownership of an NFL team. The USC quarterback, who's been amazing and heralded as, maybe the number one pick in the draft. Well, guess what? Apparently, Williams' performances have made him the most coveted quarterback prospect available in the foreseeable future. So apparently his representatives have been making it known that the prospective agent wants partial ownership of a team that selects him in the 2024 draft. Now, there's only a problem with that. It's illegal by league rules. You can't do it. So unfortunately, what are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? What are you going to do? It is what it is. So, what can I tell you? What else do we have? Miami is, and that is your KSDT CPA Sports Business Report by dumbass Caleb Williams and his agent.
This has been the KSDT Sports Business Report. KSDT CPA is one of South Florida's largest and one of the country's fastest growing accounting firms. KSDT is recognized by Forbes as one of the top tax and accounting firms for 2022. KSDT CPA is a full service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit online at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370.
All right. Thank you all as always. We will talk to Joe Schad later on this afternoon, so expect that one to be dropping later on. So we'll talk to him after he they don't see practice, but catch Jalen Ramsey out there and get a little more insight and all that kind of stuff. So we'll have Joe Schad's segment for you later on in the afternoon. So make sure you are on top of that if you want to catch it. Nick Needham coming off the pup, hopefully. Joe Frisaro says he loves the Big O. Well, I love Joe Frisaro. Joe Frisaro is the shit, bro. He is the man. I've known Joe Frisaro for 30 years. He is the only thing wrong with Joe Frisaro is that he's an Alabama fan. That's the only thing wrong with Joe Frisaro. He is a hardcore Alabama fan, by the way. And this is like way before Nick Saban. I've known him for 30 years. He's always been an Alabama fan. So he's loving life with all the championships for Alabama. He's a huge Crimson Tide guy, bro. Really good dude. If you know him, Green Lion, then you know a really good person in Joe Frisaro. No doubt. Does an excellent job of covering baseball for many, many years. I got to know him when he was, I think it was AP he was working for, and he would cover the Dolphins. Him and Steve Wine, if I remember correctly, were kind of the guys out of the AP that would cover it. And got to know Joe Frisaro very well. And then I know he's been worked for MLB and all that. And was it the Herald that Frisaro was part of, or the Sentinel? I forgot. He's like all of us in the media, bro. many jobs. It's a terrible business. It is what it is. But that's a great name to mention there, Green Lion. Joe Frisaro. He's gold, bro. He is a really, really good dude. One of the good people in our business. Raheem Mostert was just named AFC Offensive Player of the Week. Well, very well deserved. Super Boom Shack Miami, not usually good in prime time. Well, let's Super Boom Shack. You're right, but let's hope that things change. They won out west, right? The year before they didn't win out west. This year they won out west. Maybe they can get it done. I'm going to pick the Dolphins, bro. I know this team can play better than what they played against the Bills and their offense, and I'm counting on this coach to take that step where, in these kind of games, you outsmart your opponents and you coach it up. To me, that's the most important thing. Was I ever a friend to Dan Sileo? Not really. I know Dan. We've gone back and forth a little bit on social media and all that, but no, I don't really know. Can't call him a friend or anything like that. I don't really know Dan Sileo well or anything. Frisaro, I've known for decades. You know what I mean? And not that I hang around with Frisaro a ton or anything, but he and I did a lot of talking, a lot of music and sports and all kinds of stuff, whether we were at a baseball game or we were at Dolphins camp or at a Dolphin game or something. Frisaro was just, that's a guy that I got to know. But remember, Sileo was a former player that did some stuff as a talk show host, but not for very long down here. And like when he got to QAM, I left QAM. So, it wasn't like we were in the same place at the same time working in the same places. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's kind of, in fact, I think he even went to 640 after I left 640. I think that's how it went. I want to say Dan Sileo even worked at 640 after I left 640 Sports, if I'm correct. But yeah, he is an interesting character. I'll say that. Tua's only loss on prime time came against Buffalo last year, and even that game, he played amazing. We should do a Patreon to get Frisaro segment. Would you ever be interested in an exclusive Miami Dolphin podcast working for the Dolphins? Yeah, I would do something like that. Now, again, if it gets in the way of this and doesn't allow me to do this, then no, of course not. I'm not doing it. No, this has been the best thing I've ever done in my career. Way better. The freedom, everything. Everything that I've been able to do is way better here, and I don't have to deal with anything. I don't have to deal with any politics. I don't have to deal with any idiots above me that don't know how to do my job. I don't have to deal with any of that shit. So, and thank the Lord, both Sean and I can make a living comfortably. So it's not the end of the world for us. I would never do anything like that, but something for the Dolphins, that would be fun, actually. Yeah, that would be fun. I don't think that would ever happen, by the way. Ever. Okay? But yeah. Big O, I'm divided. Hart says Finns win this weekend. Please, unbiased football fan says Eagles. Well, that's cool. Joy Taylor got started with Dan Sileo. She did? Wow. Submission for her. Are the boys at walk-on Sunday for the game next weekend? Next weekend, not this weekend. Next weekend for the Patriots. We're there, and we'll be giving away shirts and all kinds of other stuff. I got to talk to Perdomo and see, and Caneswear and all that. And then plus they'll have stuff, too, to give away. So we'll be giving stuff away throughout the game like we always do in between the quarters and halftime and 2-minute warning. We give away all kinds of prizes. So if you join us next weekend at Walk-Ons, it'll be a lot of fun. This week, we're in studio for the Eagles. All right? That is it, folks. We are done. We thank Jeff Mosier, who covers the Eagles. You can rewind and catch it. If not, Mr. Sean Stanley will make that a segment. We thank Matt Verderam and Cameron Wolf. All of those will be segmented and posted out there. We appreciate all of you for tuning in. Later on this afternoon, Joe Shad, an interview with him will drop. And that's about it. I appreciate all of you. Hit that like button. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock at Hialeah Park. Same time, same place, same bat channel.